I can see us on here. I don't know what you're not seeing. Well, welcome back. It's the Luke and Shay podcast. I'm Luke, and that's Shay. We about to do a great podcast, and like the thing say down here, like, subscribe, and share, please, by all means. Um, we definitely need your love. We need all the love we can get right now. Again, this is the all love show. Definitely need your love. Uh, we're gonna start this podcast off tonight. We're gonna try not to run. We ran late last night.
Yeah.
We're gonna try not to run too late tonight, but like I said, you never know how it goes, and we don't know what guest's gonna show up. So, like I said, we're gonna try to get this one off to a good start. Would you like to say anything, Shay, before we get started with the question of the night?
No, just as you said, please like, share, and subscribe. Your subscriptions, it's free. And again, it just puts us, and when you like our content, when you view it, it puts us in the algorithm for other viewers outside of our main batch of viewers to see our content. So your subscriptions is greatly appreciated. And again, it's free to subscribe, and it just gives you notifications for when we are putting out content.
Okay. With that being said, now we're gonna get to the good part here. The good part. Definitely like, subscribe, and share. Okay. Now, our tonight question is: there were roles in a relationship. Have the roles changed, or have they, or are they no longer needed? Now, to explain the roles, okay, a man used to court the woman. He would take her out on a date. See, it was his job to pay for the date. That's a role. It's the man's job to protect. That's a role. To provide. That's a role. These things that we used to call, like I said, it was just the norm of dating, getting to know a woman or as a man or vice versa. There was roles that came with this, with each of the position. There was a need. See, the balance of us is the balance of the woman would do what I couldn't do. And today I would do what she couldn't do. Okay. Now, with that today, have those roles disappeared? Are they still needed? Are they in exchange? Are they exchangeable, interchangeable? I meant to say interchangeable, or are they no longer needed? So we're gonna delve into this, and I'm hoping that we have some people show up in the chat, and also if you want to hop on the show, by all means, hit up. We definitely would invite you in, and definitely would like to hear your views. So how do you feel? Do you feel like that it has changed? Do you feel like roles are no longer needed?
Um, I don't feel like the roles have changed. The roles are needed. Yes, the roles are needed. So, as far as them, have they changed? I wouldn't say they changed because they didn't change for everybody. But I believe that the different things that has happened over time, okay, feminist movement and things like that, so you have more people that are looking at the roles differently, but you have people in the households that are accepting equal. They're accepting the woman to do just as much as he's doing. So it depends on, because a lot of times when I hear people say, okay, the women are being a certain way, a lot of those times, that's not the married people that are saying that, because the married people are accepting. If that's something that's happening in your household, those aren't the ones that are online saying that these women out here are acting manly, or different things like that. I mean, it's not just the household, because we can look at it in a full circle. If you're going to say the roles have changed, I would agree with that, but look at what people are able to do these days. Right now in 2025, you have women who are able to do jobs basically just the same as, I can go and fill out an application right next to a man. and may the best one win, whatever the case might be. But, that's the difference, because if your preference is from a time where you didn't have women out there working, I know we like to go back there where women were home and they weren't working. And that was before this feminist movement came, and, we're equal and we can do just as much as a man. So when that happened, yes, you see people in the workplace, and it's women and men. If you think about the military, you have, I saw a discussion today where there was a discussion if women should be in the military, because women were always looked as the weaker vessel. I've heard men talk about jobs that they've been on with women, where if the job is requiring you to lift 70 pounds, they expect you to lift 70 pounds, but there's women that are going to the men and say, "Hey, can you lift this?" So when we think about roles, it's a matter of what we were allowed to do. No longer do we have to sit home and just keep a house, iron clothes, and maybe go up the street and do our neighbor's household as well. Now we're out here in the workplace, and I think when women started to get educated, and they're going to college and everything, and I think that's where people have the mindset of, the roles have changed. It's not that the women are out here changing roles. It's just that we are able to do things. And before you get in a marriage with a woman, she might have already been established. She might have already went to college. She might have already gotten her education. And I think that is looked at as a threat by a lot of men, because you do have educated women out here. You do have women that are making over 100K or 60K, whatever the case, when back in the day, that wasn't a thing. So now they're looking at it like, okay, these women are out here taking our jobs and things, maybe because he couldn't have gotten that job. Who knows? But I don't think the roles have changed. I think roles are needed. And if two people come together, that's a discussion. He should be able to tell her, if he's going to wife her up, "Hey, do you know what the roles are in our household?" He needs to stress to her that he's the head. He needs to be equally yoked, because if he's equally yoked biblically, then she would know her roles. It's the women you're picking. You have a whole bunch of women out here, single, and I know we have conversations where you say there's more women to the ratio of men. So maybe not settle for that first woman and go find somebody that's equally yoked with you, that does know her roles in the household.
Well, you said it quite a bit right there, but no, we was talking about roles in the sense of understanding what was the woman's role. If the man's role was to provide, protect, and to pay. We understand that the times have changed, and the money market and how the employment market has changed. We want to understand, okay, there were roles that was women supposed to have played as well. And are the men doing what the women used to do, or are just the women doing what men do?
The woman's role is, she's supposed to keep her house. So she's supposed to keep her house. She's supposed to be her husband's help mate. So even though she's out in the workplace, now today, the way things are in the economy, you have both men and women in a relation, in a marriage. They're both working the 9 to 5. They're both doing that. But the women, back in the day, that's their only job was to be the wife, the mother, to keep the house. She was home, the kids, taking care of the kids, however that looked, taking them to school, making sure their homework, all that stuff. And that's not to say that the men couldn't step in and help with homework. I plenty of times, my parents were old school, okay, and there's been plenty of times my father's strong point might have been in a subject that my mother wasn't familiar with. He was more book smart. My father was an educator. So I might have struggled in history, trying to learn history, because it really wasn't my history, not to get into that. But when I was learning history, I struggled with that. And my father would sit at my dining room table, and he would go over my lessons with me where I was struggling, or if it was math. So some of the things, it just depends on the family and how that looks for you. But the woman, yeah, my mother cooked, she cleaned, she delegated chores to us, and my father did the same thing as far as delegating chores. But when it came to the provider and, protector, my mom and dad both worked, and they've always been in business together. But when it came to the final say, yes, my father had the final say. And I do agree with that. But what I did see my parents do is communicate. And if it was something that wasn't for our ears as children, they would go in their office in our home and they would discuss it. My parents never talked about money and finances in front of us, and today you just have, the roles are just all shifted in the house, and I believe even with the children, I believe they might know too much that's going on in the marriage, because people are freely talking about that in front of the kids. But my parents went to their quiet place and they did their business quiet. We didn't stress about finances as kids. We just played and did our chores and went to school, so, but the roles of the mother was to keep her home together, however that looked for her. And if she could work, she was still required to do that as well. Because just because we're working today doesn't mean we don't keep our house. And that's not to say when we get home we're not tired, but we still have to make sure the kids, hey, what are you doing in school? Let me check. Okay, I have to go to the parent teachers meetings and I have to do different things like that. So yeah, it, again, everybody's household is different, but the what we are supposed to be as far as a woman is supposed to be our husband's helpmate. He's up here first, okay, God, the husband, okay, the wife and the children. That's the order that the household was laid out to be in.
But we were talking when we iterate. I reiterate the roles that we had. We said back in the day, the woman cooked, cleaned, kept the house, those things, took care of the children. There were roles. That's the roles we're talking about. And the man's job was to protect, provide, and to maintain the household.
Yeah.
That was his role as the man to go in. Today, all those things we have made interchangeable. So I'm saying, again, are the roles needed or are they obsolete? Do we no longer apply these rules? Is it, like I said, because only one, we have never changed as men as being providers and protectors. See, we can't even get out of those. That's where it go. But if you're saying today, I'm saying today, the way it's designed, but it was designed to keep the family together. That's why we have roles. But when we do the things that we do, and in the society that we are raised in, as I said before, you're gonna get a lot of confusion. There we go in that part of it. So when you ask that whole question, remember we had the question of what you bring to the table. That's not really a question. And when anybody asks them what you bring to the table, what you're asking, okay, what do you bring to me, that the things that, because they were all designed for you to do the things I couldn't. And I'm looking for you to do the things that I couldn't. And so that's what this was all about, because that's the balance of power. He created you to do the things. That's why the help me title came, so that you would do the things I couldn't. But if you want to do the same thing I'm doing, see, then we don't have a helpmate, do we? Okay? So that's what
No.
I'm saying. In today's time, is that obsolete? But go ahead.
So yeah, I already answered that the same way. Yeah, she's the provide, as far as he's the provider and she does the house, but like, keeping the house in order and being his help me. But that's why I preference, it depends on the family and what their dynamics are in and out of their home. Everybody's household's not going to be the same. Everybody's situation's not the same. Now today you might have a husband that works at night, she might work during the day. So he might be taking the kids to the bus and doing the morning routine because she's at work. But see, that's the only difference with that is, like I said in the beginning, I don't think that the roles need to be deleted. The roles are needed. But now in 2025, we are not the same people as the people back in the 50s and 60s. Women are also working, and they're also, when you say providing, she's contributing to that, providing. She's also bringing in an income to the household, which she didn't have before. She might have made a couple dollars up the street ironing Mrs. Smith's clothes for the week or cooking Miss Smith's dinner. Now she's home, she's cooking her dinner, and she's going to put in hours during a 9 to 5, and she's still coming home and doing her thing. So, like I said, I don't think the roles in the household has particularly changed for everyone in the household. I believe it depends on how their dynamics are in their home. The husband might agree with her doing this. And my thing is, by all means, I can't speak for all women, because I grew up in a time where women were working. So I'm only the product of my environment when that comes to a woman and her roles. So even though I do take care of home and I cook and clean, I'm also required to work. I've been required to work all my life. So with that, as soon as I left my parents' house, I was required to work. I was brought up, I was taught to work as a child. So with that being said, we are working beings. Women are working beings now. So that's the only difference. So I believe when you say a man is a protector and a provider, she's also providing. She wasn't required to do that back then because she was actually home and she was just taking care of the home. But providing, she's now doing that. So that's the only difference is you have women that are working, so.
Okay. Well, we'd like to welcome Shamika to the podcast. She's in the house. Shamika, we're talking about that. You met Shay. Shay, that's Shamika.
Hello.
There are roles in relationships. There were roles in relationships. Have these roles changed, or are they no longer needed? Do you feel like the role of a man? We normally would court you, take you out to dinner, pay for the dinner, protect the provider, all these things. Do you think those roles are no longer, are they interchangeable now? Because women are now working and doing the things that they do. Do you feel like that's changed or no longer needed? You're examining the question. You don't think they no longer need it? You want to make them obsolete? Oh, you're silent over there. Is your
While
mic
she's thinking, Luke, can you looks like we have some comments in the chat while she's thinking.
okay? Well, let me put them up. I'll put them up on the board here. With the adaption, I would have missed many lessons. Did it say adaption?
No, I think that's a continuation. It looks like there was a comment before that one.
Okay. All right, let's go to the first one. Can you read that? Or can you see it? Or you want me to read it?
Like I can hold on a second.
Roles have been modernized in the new world. If my father held the roles of old school men alone, he would not have added all the nutrients and substance I needed as a young woman growing up. And that's Tierra.
What is the second message? Is there another one?
Without adaptation, I would have missed many lessons I've learned from my own father. So again, do you feel like the roles are interchangeable today? Are you cool with them being interchangeable? Do you want to go back to the old style where the man was the provider and protector? Because now that's the difference. So that's what people ask that question, and I know Mika hate that question, what you bring to the table. That's what men was really asking when that question really was. What was you bringing? Because see, God created you to do the things I couldn't so that we were balanced. And so again, my job is to do the things that you can do. See, I might be able to pick up 500 pounds. I'm not expecting you to do that at no point in time. But at the same time, we got to a point where equality put us in a position where everybody wanted to do what the other person was doing. And so now you got people that say they want to be stay-home fathers, but that's frowned upon. See, they would rather stay home and take care of the house. Okay, I don't know these guys, but there are people that would take that role. By the same token, that's what we have here now. Now, I believe originally the roles that were in place were, like I said, it was part of the patriarch, but it was what God had wanted for us to do. That's why he told a man after eating the fruit that he was worked by the sweat of brother's eyes, and that is to take care of his family. See? And that's why I believe women were better homemakers because they were in charge of taking care of home. The roles have completely changed. And what we're saying today is, how do y'all feel with these rules changing? Are you cool with the rules changing? Do you accept it, or would you rather stay with the old rules?
And from what I just heard you say, real quick, what I just heard you say is that the way it was before, where, how it was before everybody started screaming equality, that was how God wanted it. The woman home taking care of the household and the man being a provider. So what I hear, the main thing that I hear, it's not that the roles went this way or that way. What I'm hearing is, as a people, we went away from God. So if you go away from God, everything else, now you got the sinful mindset, you got the worldly mindset where women can do the same as men and this, that, and other. If that was God's order, and if God wanted the woman home and not out and about at work, I can't sit here and say that that's the woman's fault. If she's born into the world today, women work. This is what we were born in. And God knew that this was going to be a thing. We have free will. So when you have a nation of people that, hey, women, let's go. You guys want to do what they want to do the feminist movement. So now you have women doing the same roles as men. And there's not a lot of relationships, and come on, look at our economy over the years. Not a lot of women can stay home, and not a lot of men are telling her she can. I'm not saying that there's not marriages where that happened, but if somebody was to tell me, Shantae, you don't have to work, I'll stay home by all means. I'm not one of the people that was marching for equal rights. I mean, I was born into this time where I
That's too
had to
loud. You're gonna get
work.
in
I would be glad to stay home, trust me, but this is not what
trouble.
I was brought up. I never had a privilege to stay home and not help provide for my family. It wasn't just cooking and cleaning for me. It was doing a 9 to 5 and putting bread on the table. So
Okay, well, like I said, that's one of the things we wanted to touch on is have roles change and how have roles differed for us. We were touching on that was the initial first question, and we just want to get to the bottom of how people feel about the different roles today and how we have gone from, like I say, doing things a certain way to now doing things that are convenient for the way we are today. But yeah, that was a good understanding. But like I said, we're going to touch on so many different things there within the confines of it. Yeah, we have had a lot of changes that went on, but like I said, the role of a man really didn't change. So that's why we were always asking what it is that what people look for in relationships today. What are the things that are key to a successful relationship today? What do y'all look at today when we take away the roles? What is it that you would look for in a man today, or I can tell you what I look for in a woman today as keys to being successful in a relationship today, marriage and all. Being that y'all two are married, so
Well, for me, I'm traditional, so I do look for the man to be the main provider. But if situations happen and you know um I'm more of the breadwinner, I still look for him to provide. But I've had the luxury of not working. I stayed at home with my now 18-year old. I was able to stay home with her and not work for a few years. I watched her, you know, from pregnancy till about, I want to say, 3 years old. I stayed at home. I was
Okay.
able to do that and it was good, but it also got boring and I was miserable. I wanted to get back out there and work. And then it wasn't enough money. Like it was just, we barely was making enough to just provide. It was just taking care of the bills. It was barely enough. Although my husband, he's a good saver, but it wasn't enough. So, especially in this economy right now. So, in reality, you need two people working. But if the person can carry the weight, pay the bills, the man, if he could pay all of the bills, plus be able to maintain certain life, luxuries like going out to dinner, going to the movies, going on vacations, if he can manage all of that, then I say, I still would want to work. But at the end of the day,
Mhm.
I still want him to, carry the weight of the bulk of the bills.
Mhm.
But I'm a
No.
team player, so it really is no you pay all the bills, and I'm a team player, so we work in this thing together. That's me personally. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a good way to look at how you feel about that, Shay.
No, I agree 100%. I mean, I heard, yeah, just receiving what she said, that was the blessing that she was able to. I would have loved to do that, when my kids were younger. And I trust me, the dropping them off at family members and stuff, because I'm missing moments. It could be I'm at work and she decides to take her first step. I'm like, I miss that, So as a mother, yes, there was little moments with my children that I did miss because I was in the workforce. And when you're on maternity leave, it only lasts for so long. So, but if I was in a situation to where I could stay home till my children were talking age, because today I believe that that's necessary. Now, if I could go back and do that, I would make sure my kids could talk before I have them in daycare and things like that. But that wasn't my, my story. So, but there are people that are able to do that. And when I see like I have a personal story. My best friend, for instance, she
Mhm.
always would do like part-time jobs here and there, whatever the case might be, with and then taking care of house and home. And but her husband said, you don't have to do that. You can stay home and raise. She started homeschooling, and he said, no, you can do that. Let me go hard. Let me go get this overtime. Let me go do the darn thing so that you
Mhm.
can be home with the kids, and we're not paying for daycare. We're not paying for, however that look. So there are some men that, that's their mindset. Hey, you don't have to work. I'll take care of everything when it comes to the finances. I'm going to be the provider. You take care of the kids, because this day and age, you have some people that don't want to send their kids to public school. I can't blame them for that. So in order for he saw his daughter, his children's education more valuable. He's going to take that load so that she can stay home and homeschool. So she's working, she's a teacher, she's a mother, she's teaching her child, and he's providing. He's doing that overtime, and he's taking care of the bills. So there are some
Oh,
people, depending on the situation, that are able to do that.
So
okay.
when you look at even in the Bible, the Proverbs 31 woman, she was a merchant. She was she was working. The husband was sitting at the gate with his boys, getting the credit. She got up early in the morning. She cooked. She cleaned. She went and she went and did what she had to do for the family. Uh, she was the breadwinner. Proverbs 31. The way I read that scripture, she was the breadwinner, and the husband was basically, like I
The
said,
housewife. He was
he
a
was
housewife.
he was the housewife. That's how I perceive the story. But at the end of the day, I think that in society nowadays, like when you look at men who are the breadwinners, you got to look at the pros and cons of that, because a lot of times when you look at those type of men, and I'm not saying, I'm not putting all of them in a box, but majority of the time it's a lot of infidelity in those marriages, because
Mhm.
the husband is never home, and then the wife feel neglected. That gives room for affairs, you know what I'm saying? And she feels like he's always at work, so 9 times out of 10 he got him a work wife. He got him a woman on the side that he's spending ample time with, and the wife is getting nothing. So I think that with two people working, it gives you more opportunity to miss each other, to long for one another. Like when the wife is at work and then the husband is at work, and then you come together. I think it brings more of a unity in the marriage per se. But not saying that just because you know you're not, just because your spouse is working that he's going to have an affair. That's not what I'm saying. But when you look at statistics and you look at majority of, you know, women who stay at home, she's neglected and he's out there traveling the world doing the most, you know, especially if he has a really good career. You know what I'm saying? If he's really one of those, you know, high value men, as we say nowadays. Um, she's getting the brunt of the deal, if that makes sense.
Okay. Well, like I said, I don't see it that way, but I hear you. Because you gotta.
That's been going on in the beginning of time. That's not even modern. That's been going even back in the day when the man was the breadwinner. The woman, she was
He's
at
always
home taking care of everything. Okay, when the man was the breadwinner, the wife was at home taking care, and where he was at Betty Sue house.
But how would he be at Betty Sue house if he was at work?
He was
He
at work and at Betty Sue house. When he left work, he was at Betty Sue house. And
uh,
then he went home. He went home to eat, take a shower, and go to sleep. That's what he did.
You'll see that
That's
you can't
exactly what he did.
generalize him because again, if you go back, what century do you want to go to? Because see, if you went
We
to
could go. We could go to medieval times. We could go back to BC when we wasn't even thought of, and we
again,
could look in the Bible. That's
we
where all
can,
the concubines came from,
Yeah.
because
but
the woman, it was like basically the woman needed help. You know what I'm saying? Need help for what? I don't need no help. I don't need no another woman to come in. I ain't doing nothing. So what I
Mhm.
need help for?
Yeah.
hey, you gotta have some age. What's the matter with you?
See, there we go.
Mhm.
Anyway, the point here is I'm saying even in the 60s, we didn't have all of the stuff that y'all always allocate that was way overrated that was there. And because, like I said, you ask yourself this, we were talking about, even when we talk about kids out of wedlock, we were mentioning that yesterday. The women that were having kids out of wedlock, see, there wasn't a lot of women having kids out of wedlock in the 60s because that was frowned upon.
But she mentioned the men. She said the men was at Betty Sue's house. So even in the
The men
60s,
would,
you
the men
had
would have been,
men who went to
the men
work
would have been,
and
the
they
men would.
had a friend up the street that he was knocking down.
Okay,
And
so let's use this
somebody would
logic.
have a sister or brother up the street, probably in the same class, and not knowing that that was their sister or
That
brother.
was very
So
rare because
it
I'm,
just didn't
damn, that's
That
why I
wasn't
start.
rare. That wasn't rare. You
that
have a
wasn't
lot of
rare. Look
families.
at the movie
You,
Fences. Look at Denzel in the movie Fences. You like to preference that
It's
movie.
what I just
Denzel was
said.
going
Then
to work and
you would
knocking down
have
Betty Sue.
again. We have 86% of women today are single with no with children. You didn't have that. It would have been a bunch of women that would have been monitored back then that would have been single with children. That rate was not high because it was
Because
still
she was
frowned upon.
home. She
I'm
couldn't
not I'm
work.
not conflicting with the
Yeah, she
again,
was
I'm not
home.
fighting with the thing. I'm saying that if that was the case, you would have had a bunch of women that was single with children back
it
there.
was. It was a lot of married women back then, but it was also a lot of single mothers with
Yes.
children. It was.
Yeah.
I challenge you to Google 1960, pull up your stats to see how many women were going that was single with children. It's at as high as now.
But the thing about it is that husband was also paying, he was going and dropping Betty Sue some dollars for them kids. So you might not have the right stats
See
because she
what I
wasn't
see
going out for child
you what
support.
now
He wasn't going out for child
See,
support. He was paying for the lady up the street and his wife's kids.
this why I can't do
okay
this with Luke, because
No, I can't.
Luke got so many siblings that his mother did
He
not
do.
breed.
Exactly.
And he proved our point. You
And they
prove
were
our
from
point all the time.
yes, his father had different children from. So how are you going to say that wasn't
And you was
happening?
born back then, so make it make sense. Like you prove our
what
theory
I'm
all the
saying
time. You put your foot in your
how
mouth.
where do I prove your theory at, ma'am?
You prove
See,
our theory because how many brothers and
yeah.
sisters you got that's not your mama's? How about that?
Why do you think the song
How
Papa
many
Was a
brothers and
Rolling
sisters I got?
Stone came out?
My
Hold on.
father, my father was married twice. He was married to my mother and a woman prior to
No,
that passed away.
Okay, but
Now,
prior to that, do he got kids out of wedlock with other
he
women?
said yes. He told me he does.
no,
He has he's told me. Okay.
I
Wow.
have never told you that story. That was a
You told
complete
me
lie.
that you have
Because
siblings that your
That
my
father
you don't
father,
know
had.
of.
ma'am, I got siblings because my father had another wife. Do you not hear me? Can you? Is this mic working? My father was a minister. He had two wives. He had my mother, and the first wife passed
Dang,
away.
don't even say that. That sounds bad. My father was a
Yeah.
minister. Don't
Yeah,
say.
what the heck wrong with you? No, because she told me I
So he
told
was
her he had.
ministering. Your father was a minister and ministering.
But like I said, he had two wives. My mother was married twice. They didn't believe in that stuff. Matter of
Okay,
fact,
can I
my
say something
uncle,
though? Can I say something though?
yeah, you can say something.
It was happening at alarming rate. But the difference was, Luke, the men back
No, it
then,
wasn't.
hold on, please let me talk, okay? Because I have family members where it has happened and they were all old
Okay.
heads. So with this being said, what the men were doing back then, because you want to call the women weak and all, we don't want to, the men were actually going and paying Betty Sue for those other kids he made. There wasn't no child support or anything. You even preferenced to me when you went to the islands to visit your aunt. She said, "Oh, go up the street and see your family." That was her husband's other family he made up the street. So people were doing this. They want to say, "Oh, watch out for the milkman." It wasn't the wife at home. The husband he was procreating up the street while she was home taking care of the house.
Okay. You want
How
to
are we
go?
going to sit here and say that wasn't a thing?
Because it wasn't. That's the point. We at our highest right now with women having children. It's not even a thing. Back in the day, a woman thought about having children out of wedlock. There was a name that came with that. See, there is no name today. A woman will have a child by a man today, and it won't be a second thought. Well, back
And
then
I
it was.
understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. It was frowned upon. It was. It
And
was,
to,
and the rate is higher now. Of course, the Bible says generations get more worse than the next generation. So of course, every generation is going to be more intense than the other one. It still does not. It's still you still prove our theory that you making it seem like it did not happen and it was still happening.
I
And the Bible says
did
there's nothing new under the sun. So all this
have
stuff, you might have okay, where you're looking at it because you have
we
more access to find out stats. Because back in the day they didn't have the internet. So I don't know who was going around doing the census back then about how many wedlock, kids were born. They didn't have Google, they didn't have Facebook, and they didn't have YouTube. So with that being said, nobody was being boisterous that Betty Sue got knocked up by John. You know what I mean? So this is the difference.
is that
You
what
have
you want to
more
believe?
access to find this
Is that what
out.
you want to believe?
You have more access
Is
to
that what
find
you
this
no?
out,
Because
so
no, people
that's
were
why
more,
it seems like a lot
ma'am.
to
People
you,
were.
but the
See,
Bible says there's
I'm
nothing
gonna
new
leave it
under the
alone. See,
sun.
you
There's
long-winded, but
nothing
you don't
new.
listen. You got to learn to use these. That's why God gave you two of them. He gave you one mouth and two ears. Listen,
Why are you yelling?
please.
I was talking, you cut me off.
I mean, you go on and on though. It's
But when
no
Tamika
stopping.
said something, you didn't cut her off, sir. That's
She
not cool,
stopped after
bro.
a while. That's the
That's not
point.
cool.
You
But
don't
you're letting
stop.
her speak, and when I talk, you shut my voice up.
I'm
Okay.
not shutting your voice up. I'm giving you an argument to what you just said. If I'm
But
saying
you
to you,
can't give me an argument if I'm already talking.
if
Then
you
you
didn't
call
go,
me
how old are you?
masculine because you're
Okay,
cutting
let
me
me ask you
off.
a question. How
Okay.
old are you? How old are you? Which one of us could come more from that season, me or you?
But see,
In
that's where
that
just
time, which
because you
one of
came
us?
from that don't mean I haven't seen it.
See,
I grew
that's
up
what
in a
you know.
household
What?
where my
That's why the
parents were
Bible
about the
says.
same age as your mother.
See, that's why the Bible
So
says wisdom. Wisdom come with age. It doesn't. You don't just step outside and get wisdom.
but you're
I
And
live
telling
in
me
the
that
he
I
era.
can't
and
speak on this.
and
Why am I on
say
the talk show?
and
Why
say
am I
he
here
just
if you're telling
and
me I
say
can't
he
speak
just
on this?
say he just proved our theory again. You know why? You know why he just proved our theory? How many kids you got, Luke? How many children do you have, Luke?
Two.
With
See,
the same baby mother?
no.
There you go. Boom. Drop the mic. And you was not married to neither one of those women. And
My
Papa
ma'am, my
was a
child is
Rolling
still alive.
Stone.
My
What?
child is 7.
It don't
I
matter.
I
It don't
wasn't
matter.
having.
You just said.
Excuse me.
You just said.
I
You just
wasn't.
said.
I
You.
wasn't having children in the 60s.
It doesn't
That's
matter. It does
it
not
does.
matter. And no, it doesn't. You just
That's
said.
the thing.
You just said you was born in that era. You just said that to Shay. You was born in that era, so you
Exactly.
the one. But just because you didn't have kids in that era, it doesn't. It still doesn't mean anything.
And what we talk about, but Mika, we talking about the people that were having kids in that era. That's what we're talking about. The
But
fathers of
the
that era.
thing
I
is,
wasn't the
people are
father
having
in that
kids
era.
today. People are having kids today. Then you can say that you're the product of causing
From
that today with the high
1960,
rates of women that are single
again,
without a man.
my mother was married to my father, though. What are you talking about?
We're talking about, okay, the issue is today the roles have changed. And the men are not, okay, they're going up the street having babies with Betty Sue. So talking about today, you had babies with Betty Sue's and you didn't marry them. So that's what she's saying. Okay, you can't speak on that if you contributed to it. You're telling me to hush because I wasn't born in that
Man,
era. Like
see,
I can't
see,
speak on it,
Mika,
but I was born into this time where I see it.
see,
So
Mika,
why have a
that's why
talk
I
show if
didn't
I
want you
can't
to
have a
go there.
voice?
I was born in the
So
60s. I had my kids in the 80s. So the statistic of the people of having children out of wedlock in the 80s would be the thing.
you didn't
So
have all your
again,
kids in the 80s, Luke.
I said it would be more of the 80s. That's my point. My point was, again, I was in high school in the 80s, and people were having kids out of wedlock in high school. But what I'm
Okay.
saying is, I had my children in the 90s. So you would have
Okay.
to do the statistics from when how many women was having children out of wedlock in the 90s. I said women who was having children out of wedlock in the 60s. Because see, that's one of the
Okay.
things that happened to black people were that we were now having children outside. It was happening at an alarming rate. When I showed you the 6 girls in New Jersey who were saying they didn't need a father for their children. See, that's when it began. That was in the what? The 80s. That's the point of me saying that to you. Because see, the women back in the 60s, it was frowned upon. Matter of fact, my uncle told me that if they would have found you in a house with a woman and you wasn't married, you went to jail. See, these things were rules. These rules were different. So these men and women couldn't do the things that we're doing at the alarming rate that we're doing it now because we have none of these rules in place. That's what I'm saying. It was frowned upon because they were more spiritual than we were. They really believe the word of God to a certain extent to where we don't really follow God in this society we live in now. We're not operating off of, you know what? Oh boy, we don't want to commit adultery. We don't want that. No, it's no difference. We out doing it like it's water today. So that's what I'm saying. The time has got wilder, but there was a time in the 60s. No, the women weren't. Like I said, my mother got married twice. She didn't have to get married twice. If she would have did like everybody else, just go ahead and start having kids and getting on welfare. There you go.
But yeah, I preferenced that same thing. And I said the issue is the roles, okay, going back to the question, the roles, I don't think they need to be changed, or I don't see that they changed. Times have changed. And with that, you just repeated what I said. God, they took God out of the equation. That's what you see. When you say that those people are more spiritual and grounded in the word, okay, well, you don't have that. You have people walking around with the worldly thinking and the masculinity that you talk about. Well, that women's rights movement that came and told the woman, hey, you can do just as much as your husband. Now you have some women that went along with that. And that's not to say every woman's doing that. But if the man is marrying her, you have to have that conversation. Because like I said before, you said that the ratio to women to men, there's a lot of women out here. Don't settle for that first woman. If you guys don't have that connection, if you guys are not, equally yoked, if you are grounded in a word, then move on because she's not for you. Go find a woman that is okay with the roles and her roles as a wife. You don't have to marry the first thing that comes your way.
If anything, when I said what I said, and when Mika saying, okay, well, Luke, you had children out of wedlock. Okay, see, because nobody was frowned upon in doing that at that point in time. I give that all the time. So again, when we say frowned upon, it wasn't a thing where people were going, you know what, you shouldn't do that. It wasn't because it was not frowned upon. In the 60s, it was frowned upon. If you came
But you're,
somewhere and
but
had
it
a
is
child,
frowned upon. You're talking about it right now that it's a high rate. So it is frowned upon. That's nothing new under the sun.
man,
It's
if it,
always been
what we
frowned
saying, see,
upon.
that's why you got to stop and hear and what I'm saying. If it was frowned upon, people wouldn't do it because see, it would be like talked about. You got talked about in the 50s and 60s for having children out of wedlock. You were talked about literally. That's why back in the day when I went to high school, I don't know about y'all. I'm thinking Mika went. Remember, we had a school called TAP. You remember? Do you remember TAP? See, and that was a school for pregnant girls. Matter of fact, when you got pregnant, you didn't even come to school with us. Now, if I go into any school today, you got girls that are pregnant, right? See, they didn't even let you see it because it was frowned. That's what I mean when I say frowned upon. We didn't go to school with pregnant girls. If the girl got pregnant, we would go back to school and the girl was missing. We know what she was doing during the summer, okay? Because now she ain't here. But that's what we're saying. And that's what I was trying to get across to you. It was a time where that was frowned upon. People did not mess with it. People didn't think about it. It was frowned upon. And see, they go Lisa saying she remembered TAP. See, they wouldn't even let them go.
But right before Lisa, we had a comment from Harper. Hi, Harper. Hi, people in the chat. Lisa, she said, wow, I guess at one of the comments that were made. Thank you, people in the chat, for commenting.
But that's what I was saying. So no, what we're saying is bad behavior is usually preceded by the lessening of the rules. When we lessen the rules, people then do things. Like I said, if you put the stuff out there for me to take, I will take it. But that was the point. And so I wasn't trying to be this or that. I'm just saying with the way life works, in those times, they didn't do that. They wasn't into that type of stuff. It was over
Just
too many
because
things.
something isn't frowned upon doesn't make it right. Like,
Oh, we wasn't saying that. We saying why it wasn't happening. When y'all be talking about it's happening at
no,
alarming
you're
rate.
trying to justify why you had kids out of wedlock. You said because it wasn't frowned upon anymore. But just
Because I
because
can
it's not
say that
frowned,
about myself
where is your morals? You still have a moral.
Because again, rules were lessening, and we grew up
No,
with
but
that
what does
whole
that have
message.
to do with that? The rules apply to the individual. It's not. It's not.
If I said to you right now, and then we put that law back in place, that if they come to your house and you were sleeping with a woman and that woman wasn't your wife, you would go to jail. You think you'll have a
Yeah.
lot of people then?
You think what?
If they, do you think there would be a lot of people breaking their neck to be having sex with people then? It would change the way you look
No,
at all these things.
absolutely.
Yeah.
What I said was with the
But
lessening.
that's even in biblical times. You could get stoned for adultery. People still
Yeah.
did it.
So Luke,
But they wasn't doing it at an alarming rate.
so this
That's
is
what
what
we're
I want
saying.
to
That
say
we
too.
know of. That
Yeah.
we know of.
Yeah. We didn't
No,
have the
because there would have been a
internet.
lot of people stoned to death.
But Luke,
There
this
was-
is what I want to
But
say. Let me
it
say,
probably was. It's just not recorded. It probably was. We just
yeah,
don't
it
know
wasn't
of
recorded.
them. Just like when good is present, evil is always present. So no matter what, it's always gonna be somebody trying to go against the grain who think they ain't gonna get caught. So that's what it is. You
Yeah.
think
Okay, let me ask you
gonna
a
go
question.
around telling everybody, "Oh, I'm about to rob a bank"? No, he gonna do it he
Yeah.
gonna do it under the sneak. He not gonna do it so
Exactly.
everybody
And
can
Luke,
see him.
Okay,
yeah,
so
Luke, before you
go
ask
ahead.
that question, let me say this because I've been
Okay,
waiting
say
to
this.
jump in here. So earlier when I was talking and you cut me off and you said, basically, who was older, me or you, and you have more wisdom. So hold on, you said you have more wisdom because you saw people from that time era. So if you've seen people from that time and you're telling me I couldn't speak on it, you would think with your wisdom, then you wouldn't then go into the 90s and do the one thing you didn't see those people do, which is make babies out of wedlock, right? Because when you shut me up, that would be a person that didn't do that because they had wisdom to see those
Now,
older people
careful.
not do that.
Okay, now careful how you word the question because see, again, I could use that same atonement to you
But I'm
because
just
see,
going by what you said.
I'm
You
just
cut me
that's what I'm
off
saying.
and
But
told me
you
I couldn't speak on it.
okay, and I hear what you're saying, but what you're not hearing is again, you had that same right. See, it was all the same. See, if we gonna go by what you and Mika say, the times nothing has changed. but it just wasn't reported.
Okay.
See, that's what y'all saying. So that's how you're putting it. So with that being said, okay, so when you started having children, see,
Okay.
when you started having children, was it okay then?
It was never okay. None of us are, we're not saying that it was ever okay. There's nothing new under the sun.
The point
It's
was, did
nothing new
anybody
under
go
the
to
sun.
jail
But I'm
because of
talking
it?
about a person who was trying to say,
Oh,
oh, Shay,
remember,
you can't talk about that because I have wisdom and I'm older than you. I'm just saying, now you want to bring up my stuff.
okay,
Let's
so
talk about
everybody,
it. I
so
have
what
no
you're
shame
saying,
in what I've
okay, and
done.
I'm asking you a question. So
if
all of
we're
us,
gonna tell truths,
know the same thing at the same time, right?
okay.
So it don't make a difference.
So how
That
can you
lady
tell
that's
me I
100
can't
years
talk
old,
about it
you
then?
know no more than I know, right?
If I experienced it, you tried to shut
No,
my voice
man,
up though.
answer the question, please. Don't go away from the question. The question
Okay.
is, if
All
that lady
right.
is 100 years old, do she know? I know just as much as she know.
I know about that
I know.
time frame
No.
though.
I'm saying. So you're
Okay.
saying there's no difference in age. Okay, I'm only sticking right here. I don't want you going nowhere else. If that woman is 100 years old, do she know more than me?
I don't know. Let's ask Lisa. Lisa said just because you're older doesn't mean make you have more wisdom, sir.
Again, I asked you the question. That 100-year-old lady, do she know more than me?
She might not. She might not have had an education.
Bible says
She
wisdom
might not
come
have
with
been
age.
educated. 100 years old, she
The
might not have
Bible,
went to
okay,
school.
so do
She could
not the
die not
Bible,
knowing how to read.
okay, do not the Bible say wisdom come with age?
That's wisdom comes with age, but
I mean,
listen
come
to the
on.
stuff you're
Like I
saying
said, see,
though.
this is all about feelings.
It's
And see,
not
the
feeling
Bible one said,
okay.
I don't say it. The point I was making, my mother lived at a time I didn't live. So she could tell me way more because she was there.
But all
I
I'm
wasn't.
saying, Luke, respectfully, we're on a talk show and I'm talking about talking points from the time that we're talking. And you totally cut me off and told me I can't speak on that because I wasn't born yet.
Did I say you couldn't speak
you
on it?
You said, when were you born? You were born in the 80s. I was
And
back
that's
in that
in
time.
reference
You
to
tried
show
to
you I
shut me
know
up.
I was born in that era. That's just saying I
But
was
you're
born in
telling
the
me I
era.
can't speak about an era. Do you speak
I didn't
about
say
Jesus?
you couldn't speak about it.
Were you
I
born when
said I
Jesus
was
was on
born
this
in the
earth?
era.
Were you born?
I could tell that woman about stuff that happened in her era, but
And
I wasn't there. She lived it.
Okay. Were any of us born when Jesus walked this earth? But we talk about Jesus and people in the Bible, don't we? That doesn't make sense.
Now your argument is becoming convoluted. Okay, we're gonna let that go. We're gonna move on to the next subject because that's crazy.
Okay.
What I was saying was the Bible said, and I was just proving the point. The Bible said, you can just quote the Bible. Go look in the Bible and read it for yourself. Don't listen to me. The Bible said with age and wisdom.
Luke, I
That's
get
why
that.
He said, as a child, I thought like a child, acted like a child. But when I took on as a grown man, I became to do grown man stuff. That's
Luke,
wisdom.
Okay, Luke, I understand what you're saying. All I'm saying is
No,
we're
you
on a
don't.
talk.
But
You're cutting me off. We're on a talk show.
We're
on a talk show, and you're telling me that I can't talk about something from a time.
I did not one time say you could not talk about it.
But you're cutting me off.
Because you're lying. That's why I'm cutting you off. That's a lie. I didn't tell you.
I can talk about the Bible, and I wasn't born or raised in the time that Jesus walked this earth. But you can't tell me I can't talk about the 60s, which was not that long ago. Okay.
See, that's the problem with society. That's the true masculinity right there that we talk about.
But see, you only call me masculine. You haven't called Shamika.
That's what masculine is.
Disagreed with you. She had a disagreement with you as well, but she's not masculine. I'm confused. So when somebody's disagreeing with you, they're masculine.
Ma'am, and I'm agreeing with you. I didn't say not one thing that you said I said. That's the point.
Well, go back and watch the video. Go back and watch the video, and you'll see where you cut me off.
I don't have to. I'm sitting here looking at you now. I didn't say that. Okay. I said I would know more from it. I just said, a woman that's 100 would know more about the stuff that happened. She was living and I wasn't there. That's all I said. That's called wisdom.
Something. I agree 100%. I never disagreed with you knowing more.
So when did I say that you couldn't talk about it?
You cut me off and told me, when were you born?
I said
I was born in that. I said, wait, what?
Have understanding of that time, me or you.
But you that was irrelevant to our conversation, is what I'm saying.
It is relevant to the conversation. I said, if you were born in the 80s and I was born in the 60s, see, there's a whole 70 that I actually lived through that I lived in that you didn't. So I would have more knowledge of it. You could read about it in the book, but I
And I
actually lived
didn't
it.
have
That's
a
two different
disagreement.
things.
I don't disagree with that at all. But
But I'm
I'm
not
just
saying you
saying,
can't talk about the 70s.
I was just saying when I was making a talking point, when Shamika was talking, you gave her the floor. When I started talking, you shut my voice up. And I'm just saying, let's be fair on this panel, okay? That's all. When you talk, I'm letting you talk. That's what I'm saying. If I'm talking, you cut me off and then you want to call me masculine. But moving on to the topic that we're talking about.
You two guys, now cut that out.
This is crazy. This is
So who?
absolutely
Where did
that's
the
what
masculine come in at? You call her masculine, Luke?
Yeah, he did. And but like I told him, when you disagreed with him, he
if
said
I
nothing.
explain, no,
If I
when I
disagree,
explain,
I'm
I
masculine.
stopped to explain what I said. I clearly asked her, I said, the woman over here that's 100 years old, she lived longer. That's wisdom. The Bible
Mm-hmm.
said, with age come wisdom. These are all the things I quoted.
Mm-hmm.
It's with age. That means the longer you live, the more wiser you are. That's why they tell you to respect your elderly, because they don't live through things you didn't live through.
Absolutely.
And
So
I
they can
agreed
actually
with
tell you
that.
so.
I
Yeah, I
agreed
could
with
read
that.
in a book. Okay, I could read in a book and see that Martin Luther King got hosed down, but I wasn't there. My mother
Mm-hmm.
was.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was. So she can tell me what happened that day, how it happened that day. I could read about it in a book, but it doesn't mean I know what she knows. That's all I was trying to get you to understand. That's called wisdom.
Okay,
That's
but
the
what does that have to do with her being
And
masculine?
I never said I disagreed with that. I had a problem, Shamika. Hold on. My problem is right in the middle of a conversation because me and you both said the same thing. There wasn't an internet back then, so people weren't jotting down the stat who was, wedlock babies or nothing. So that's all I was talking about. But when I said it, Luke then cut me off and said, "Well, what year were you born? I was here longer than you. I would know more about it." It's like straight up didn't hear you say the same thing, but just attacked me. I'm like, okay, I digress.
I did not
Because
I
if I
think
attack
he
can
was.
you.
I
have a
think he was.
voice,
I don't think he was attacking you. I think he said that he was throwing that out for both of us, but you answered.
Exactly.
He was saying when were you born,
And
but
you
he
said you
did.
were
But
saying the
you
same thing
answered
she
it,
said.
and
but the
he
only
was.
reason why I say he was attacking me because I was in the middle of talking and he cut me
Yeah, you
off.
were.
That's
You
why I
were.
said that.
Because man, the same thing she said, and I was addressing it. I was addressing both of y'all. And I was telling you both the same thing. With the reason we did not have these things going on in that society, it was different because there were laws put in place that these people couldn't do some of the stuff that we were doing. That's
That
all
we're
I was.
doing.
But I hear you. But like I said, you act like it's a personal attack. I didn't personally attack you. I was addressing the issue. You was only following up saying the same thing she said. So if I'm gonna answer, well, I'm gonna let her say it, let you say it, wait, and then answer. I would wanted to address that off the rip. We live in a time where we can do what we want to. That's why we got all the stuff we got going on today. Because anything that you decide you want to do today, you can do. See, they couldn't do whatever they wanted to do back then. And y'all were saying they were living the same way we live today. And I'm saying, no, it wasn't. Because there was a difference. And that's all I was trying to allocate to you is to get the understanding that, okay, no. And they had a thing they call a census that you were also scared not to answer. So that's how they kept track of people. And they still do the census today. They still keep track of people. They didn't have to have Facebook. They had people that were honest. And they also kept track of how many kids were put up for adoption, abortion, all of these things. And they still do it. That's why they tell you today, more black kids are aborted than we are actually having. The black race of people haven't grown in 40 years. That's how they know it. It's a count. That's why we got these stats. That's all I'm saying to you. There are stats. I'm giving you facts. It's not my opinion. I'm telling you what it is. The Bible clearly tells you that wisdom comes with age. The more you live, the more you can tell. We done got rid of it because we got phones. And so now we can Google everything. See? We done got rid of that. Like I tried to tell you, kids today don't got to write in cursive. I had to learn to write in cursive. So right now, we go ahead and write stuff in cursive. There are kids today that wouldn't even understand it. See, I have more wisdom, understanding. See,
That's
that's what
true.
I'm
I mean, that's true. But I taught my kids how to sign their name because
saying.
they didn't know cursive, but I
See,
taught them how to sign
and
their
that's
name in
what I'm saying.
cursive.
You're right. You would have to
Yeah.
do that. But that's my point. I'm saying there are different things where each generation we have to learn from each generation. That's all I'm saying. I learned from my brother generation. So like when my brother saw Jim Brown, I never saw, and this is football, I never saw Jim Brown. I never saw OJ Simpson. But my brother who saw OJ Simpson and saw Jim Brown and saw all the running backs I saw, he said they were better. So I took his word. He got more wisdom. See? That's what I'm saying. But today
But just
we'll go.
because somebody has more wisdom doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that they're necessarily right, like it's accurate information, but it's just
Well,
that was that era.
okay, but okay, let's put it like this. You
Here,
go
let's
to a
read the chat because people in the chat are saying the same thing she just said. Let's not forget about the people in the chat. There's people in the
okay,
chat
that's
saying the
what
same
I'm saying.
thing Shamika just said.
So again, what the people in the chat are saying, that 100-year-old woman don't know more
But
than
are we
I
going to
do.
read their? I mean,
Read
are we
it.
going to read their
I
chats
put it
to
up on the
say?
screen. Can you read it? Being overly emotional is often attributed to femininity. Being alive doesn't make you knowledgeable or aware. See? Now the Bible says, with age come wisdom. See? And everybody arguing it. See what I'm
And
saying?
I see
You're gonna
Lisa
tell me
said,
that you're gonna
respect
follow
one
up?
for another. We have more chats that we skipped over. Respect one for another. Okay,
Oh,
yeah, being
I
overly
don't I
emotional.
don't listen to Lisa. I know Lisa.
Okay, well, regardless, they're in the chat, so we're gonna read it. Harper, being overly emotional is often, let me see, attributed to femininity. Being alive doesn't make you knowledgeable for or aware. Okay, she said
See?
that you still never define masculinity from last night. And Tiara said, Black women being, what is that? I can't even see. Being
Oh
called
man,
masculine is extremely toxic.
see? See again. We
So
grew
so
up in
can
a
I
time.
say something about that? Can I say something about the masculinity comment?
Go ahead.
Because when people, to me, I think that's a dark fire at black women. As of recent years, people try to say, "Oh, she's masculine." But my rebuttal to that is I'm not masculine. I'm passionate and I'm assertive. When I speak, I want to be heard and I want to be understood. And if you're not hearing me and if you can't understand me, that's up for discussion. But I think that that word masculinity has been taken to the extreme, especially against us as a race, because it's like every time a words are power, words are powerful, and every time a word come out, you notice how it's mostly aimed at our culture,
Hmm.
our group of people, especially if it has like a negative impact. It's always black women are angry, black women are masculine, black women demasculate our men, and that's not true. I know some white men, I know Spanish women who talk to men horribly. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? But it's frowned upon. It's not looked at. It's looked at, well, she supports me. She got my back. She just care about me. But when the black woman is telling you, babe, don't do that. Like, you're not making a good choice right now. She's looking at, she's trying to demeanor the man. You know what I'm saying? She's trying to demasculate him. She's trying to control him. You understand? So it's like when people come at us, at our race of people with certain words, I'm getting to the point where I don't even entertain that. I don't entertain that type of
Yeah,
energy because it's
yeah.
like what you're not gonna do is you're not gonna make me feel insufficient as a woman. You're not
Hmm.
gonna make me feel like I'm 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 trying to make our men, because we love our men. It's
Yeah.
been said that we have, first of all, we have black boys. You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Well, I don't have no sons, but
I do. I do.
you
Yeah.
know, we love our men, and it's looked at we don't love our men. We support our men. Can we deal with them, a little more? Can we be a little more gentle? But I feel like
Yeah,
we nurture them in such a way. When you nurture, that's like a eagle. A eagle don't take the bird and place them on the ground. They kick them out of the nest and make
Let me
yes.
them
ask you a
fly.
question. Let me
Go
ask you a
Yeah,
ahead.
question.
hold on, because that's correct. And I wanted to say real quick with that, what you were saying about the women and how we're perceived as masculine. So what it is, if you make sense when you talk, if you know what you're talking about, that's when men look at you as, okay, she's masculine. Why? Because I can conversate, I can have a conversation, I'm knowledgeable about
Converse.
things. That doesn't make you masculine. That just makes you knowledgeable, and they take that as, okay, well, that's a
We
threat
don't get
because
to that.
I can't sit her in the kitchen. She's not home in the kitchen, and I'm just bringing it. She don't see outside life. Now you got women outside the home, and she's
So,
bringing home money. So when she's out here working, she's getting education. Now she has knowledge. Before, the husband, he was the only one working, and he saw stuff out there, and then he come home and say, "Hey Liz, man, let me tell you what's happening up the street." She didn't have knowledge of stuff. Now she can sit there and have a whole conversation. And when you're intellectual, they take that as a threat and call you masculine. And it's
I like
like,
what
okay,
Harper said. I
if
love what she just said. Harper, you reading what she said in her comment? I love
what?
what she just said.
what she
What?
say, masculinity is a microaggression that was it's so small on my end.
You
That
By
could
was
go to the
insecure
comments
men
and
who don't handle their business. I never heard my masculine husband use the word in 26 years. See?
and
and
Now,
I never
what,
heard my husband, and I've been with my
me
husband for
neither.
20 years, and he's never called me masculine. He
Me
just say my
neither.
he say my this is what he say. He say my wife don't play. She's serious about her business. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? And you can't get over on her. That's what he say. But to be now Luke as a psychiatrist, whatever he want to call himself,
you know,
therapist,
Yeah.
therapeutical,
That's where he's
therapist.
speaking from. All that.
It's
Yeah.
like, and even when he used to say that to me, I say, "Don't call me masculine because I'm not masculine. I'm passionate." First of all, I don't exude masculinity. I'm soft.
No.
Okay, I'm a woman. I'm delicate.
Yeah.
I'm
And I
feminine,
told him that too.
uh-huh.
I never
but
had
I'm
nobody
passionate.
in my life has ever called me masculine
Okay,
except
let me
for
ask you a question. Let me ask you a
nobody.
question. Again, when you talk to other women, do you talk to women the same way you talk to men?
What are you talking about? When I talk to
Or
other
when you
women,
sitting down talking to a
other
woman,
women don't give me
are
therapy
you
24
no,
hours a
I'm
day.
asking, see, okay, give me a chance to explain because I started and then you started.
But
Okay,
you
see,
okay, ask
we
me a
consider
question.
that. That's what we're talking about.
But you
See,
asked me a
if
question, I
two
was
men are
answering it.
talking, we used to argue at Weaver and in the
Oh
lunchroom. We sit there and talk football. We took turns talking. If another man stepped to you in that way, that was a fight.
did you not ask me a question?
No, I wasn't
You
finished.
said, "Do you talk to other women that way?"
And
And
then you
then when I was
paused.
answering it, you said that
Okay,
I
go
was
ahead.
cutting you off.
Okay, because I was clear and you was like, what? So I was going to explain it again, but go
No,
ahead.
I was answering it. I said, you said, "Do you talk to other women that way?" And I said, "I don't have other women." You said, "Hold on." What? I'm like, okay,
He
you
wasn't
got it,
finished
bro.
with
You got it.
Shay. I'm not taking Luke's side, but he wasn't finished asking the question. You jumped in, so that's what he want to finish his statement. Let him finish it.
Go ahead.
So go ahead,
You got
Luke. Say it.
no.
Say it. Finish saying what you were saying.
Because I don't want to be too masculine in here.
Whatever.
I don't
Now
want
we
to be
being
too
petty.
masculine. I'm gonna
Let's
go
just
ahead and
take
hear
a woo
because
side.
this is crazy.
Let's just breathe and listen to one
Well,
another.
on my end, I will say on my end, and I say this every night, there is like, I do have like a little delay that happens. So,
Okay,
Luke,
we
I
like
can get the memo that I can invite some of my people in here. You
you
didn't let me
can
know.
invite
I
whoever
would have
you
been
want.
glad to have sent the link to some of my
You
people as
remember that
well,
song T.I. had? Well, you could
as
do
you
whatever you like.
one-sided.
So who is that? Who is that right there?
This is Yolanda.
Hi,
Hi, Yolanda.
Yolanda.
Yolanda, meet Mika.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Remember
Shamika.
How
Shamika,
y'all
my
doing?
bad. Shamika. Well, you can invite them now, Shay. It don't make a difference. We
No,
got
no, I'm not trying to be on here for 3 hours, Luke. Sorry, it's a little late in the game for that.
well,
I just wish I was told that because we could have had a diverse perspective in this panel.
I would like to hear another man's perspective. I would
I
love
know.
for
I
another man to
offered
go
to
in.
Did
invite
you
one
hear
of my
what she
family
just
members
said?
that
And
was
I'm the
up,
only
and
man.
Luke told me no. I said,
You
hey, how about I
told her
invite a
no,
man?
Luke.
He was like, we don't
This
need a
is
man.
hold up,
So
pause. This is the Luke and Shay show. So why is it that you can invite but she can't?
When did I tell her not to invite?
I asked Luke. I did message him, and even
When did,
yesterday, I said, Luke, let me know if I can invite somebody. He didn't say. He was like, okay, didn't say nothing to me.
okay, let me
And
ask you a
then when the
question.
show started,
Let me
he
ask you
had
a
guests,
question.
and I was like, I
This
couldn't
is
do
what
the
I'm
same
saying. This is
thing.
what I'll be talking about right here. I know you was inviting your sister that day? Did I
Yeah, I
know? Did you
told
ask
you.
me?
I said I invited somebody. Yes, I did.
You heard what she just said, right? She said she told me, right?
Yeah.
So you can do whatever you like. If that is
No, I
no,
told you that day because
right on.
we both said. I said, and I said,
But that's the point.
my sister
You are
said
like,
that she would be able to come on the panel. We had a
and I said
conversation
invite
about
the
it.
more people the merrier.
Okay. All right.
And why would I say
That
no
would be
to a
the Luke's
man?
Place podcast. This is crazy. Mm.
We okay. Let's just breathe. It's okay.
I can't.
Now she
I
just
can't.
said I'm gonna invite a guy, and I said no.
Yeah, I said I have family members. I have people that would be willing to come on here. I said, Luke, how about the next time I don't invite a female, I invite a male so that we have different views. He said, we don't need a male on here. What I need, and
I
he
did
got. I'm
not
like, never
say
mind,
that.
bro. Never
Oh
mind.
my Lord,
Was
I did not say
was
that.
Luke's ego getting in the way?
He said that an hour before we started the
Yeah,
podcast.
my
So
ego getting in the way. I've been arguing every day with 4 women on the show, and I'm gonna say no to a man. Really? See, that sounds foolish. You got a man.
It's sad that we have to come off topic. Lisa just said, "What is the topic?" The topic is Lisa roles being switched. So, do you think that the roles have switched between men and women? And do you prefer the old way that men should lead and pay for everything and be the primary breadwinner, and the woman should stay at home? What do you believe? That's the topic, Lisa. But back to masculinity, because that's also a portion of the topic.
Yep.
So,
And it says
again, like me and Shay and Harper said, that word, that terminology of masculinity, I think that is being tossed around too much, and it's being tossed around to the black woman. That's what it's. So we're the target. So every time a podcaster or somebody come up with a new word that just came transcended from the they say the universe, they want to dart it at the black women, especially if it's negative. So they want to tell us that we're masculine. If we're passionate, when we express ourselves, like Shay said, when you have knowledge, when you show yourself to be educated, you're not a pushover. You can't tell a woman whatever she want. You think that she needs to hear. She has a not being combative, but she has more say. She has a voice. Now she's considered masculine. So what do you say, Luke?
again, you can be masculine because our society, we grew up in a matriarch. And we grew up in a patriarch. Remember the truck driver that went over to Dubai and yelled at the man and went to jail? See, that's a patriarch. If it's according to what you were raised, and Harper asked me that yesterday, or the day before yesterday. That's why I said we grew up in a matriarch, in a society where the kids are yours as a man. See, it takes on your last name because they are yours. Biblically, the children are yours, a man. Okay, but in this society, in a matriarch society, who gets the children? The man or the woman? So
The woman.
you grew up in a man form. That's what I'm saying. Our society, we don't have to understand this whole thing. You would see back in the day when I played football, okay? The men would be on the TV saying hi to mama. They never said hi to daddy because we grew up
What
in a
does
man.
that? What? Okay. What does that have to do with women being called masculine?
Again, because you grew up in a society that perpetuated you being the man. If we go back to the Willie Lynch letters, see, they dispelled that whole thing by taking out the man and making you the man. And so now we can control you better by your woman. See, that's what we're saying. So the woman is more, the black woman was taught to be masculine. And that was from the Willie Lynch letters. We all know about the Willie Lynch letters. That's where it began. And so again, that's where all of this starts. And so from this point, it will last 400 years. We're still in there now. So every woman you're going to come to is going to have it because this is the society we were raised in. The truck driver that was over here where you could yell at a man went to Dubai. She yelled at a man. Just to yelling at a man, she went to jail. That's the point. And then we talk about this. Y'all say, well, it's just the man saying this. Which woman says she don't need the man the most? Of all the races, which woman uses that term, I don't need a man, most? See, that's masculinity. Because you're saying, I can be the man myself. We got more women telling me, I want a man, but I don't need a man. I hear it every day. I'm dating.
Oh, that's not true on my end. I need a man. I'm sorry. I'm not one of those women. I need a man. I learned that long ago. Women want to feel wanted. Men want to feel needed. You understand what I'm saying? Men need to know that the woman need him. For one, we was created for the man. That again, I might get some flack, but for me, I don't sit there and say, oh, I want a man. You just want a man. You might just get a man and nothing else. I need a man who can lead me, who can protect me, who can show me the ways, have a man who has vision. I need a man to provide. I'm not that woman. I told you the feminist era, I'm not with that. I don't want, and I might get some flack on this. Don't come for me, Lisa. But I don't believe that a woman should do everything men do. Like, I don't believe that we should have been moved in with that equality movement, because for real, you made a statement. You said, I could pick up 500 pounds. I don't want to pick up 500 pounds. I don't want to do that.
God made us perfectly where we would balance each other. See, so when I see you trying to take my role, that's masculine. Because, see, I'm the one supposed to be ultra aggressive. You're not supposed to be ultra aggressive. A woman is humble. See, the Bible say quiet in spirit. That's what the Bible say, not Luke. Luke didn't make these rules up. I wasn't even there when the Bible was written. But go read your Bible, and the Bible will tell you, humble and quiet in spirit. That's why it wasn't even about speaking. You would be able to go home and talk to your wife, and your wife would talk with respect. I'm a black man. God made man in his image. He made man in his image. I'm the first vision of God to you, but you disrespect me all day long. And you tell me you don't need me.
That's not true. So in the chat, can we look at the chat? We have.
I did it. Masculine men.
Go ahead, Shay. Let Shay do it, Luke. Luke, see, now you being too masculine. Let Shay do it.
Because
go ahead, Shay. Shay, get out your feelings. We some big girls. We can handle it. We can handle this. We can handle this.
I talk to Luke every day.
Let me explain this because it'll be took out of
my feelings.
I didn't know. Shantae. I didn't know. Remember, you can't see it. You're usually on your phone, so you can't see it. That's why I started reading it.
Yeah, I'm talking to Shamika, she said I was in my fit, but you are right now. Shamika said, never mind. Again.
Say stop. Come on. We need each other. Lisa just said it. See, y'all two exuding husband and wife.
He came on here like that. He was butthurt from last night. So let's go read the chats and get this moving on.
Now, with a woman, see, that's what we talking about. It's the wordage. Ain't nobody butthurt. I'm never hurt.
Because when I spoke, Luke, Shamika sat there and talked for 20 minutes. When I spoke, you had something negative to say. I just said, let's look at the chat.
I was only saying because I know you're on your phone, so you might not be able to see it. That's why I started reading. Because she said, let you read, but I thought you was on your phone.
I've read plenty of them tonight.
Go ahead, read.
I've read plenty of them tonight.
Well, go ahead, read.
Okay, so I got to go back up to here. Let me see if I can even see. I don't know what was the last message. Okay.
It's on the screen. I'm going down. You see it on the screen?
Okay, hold on.
She can't see it. It's too
But
little.
I'm
If you
seeing
can,
stuff. Hold on. I'm seeing stuff
See it on
that
her
we did.
laptop.
I'm seeing
I
stuff
got
that
it at
we
the
did.
bottom of the
I
screen.
see it. I'm seeing stuff that we didn't say. So it looks like Harper says, don't no woman want to do everything if she has a quality man. Okay. Then Yolanda says, okay, Yolanda, who just, I believe, I don't know if that's the same Yolanda who originally came into the chat, but she says, I understand
See,
that,
I was trying to get them
but
in
what
order.
about how we've been?
I was trying to get them in order. The last one that was read. I had it on the screen, and then I'm go
I
down
can't,
with
well,
it.
see, the thing is, I can't see what you're putting down there. I can only see what's on the side. So I'm
Oh,
reading from the last one that we
go ahead.
had. So Yolanda, I don't know if that's the same Yolanda that was in the chat. She said, I understand that, but what about how we've been failed by you all, talking about black men, that has pushed us into what you are all calling masculinity? Boom. That right there. When, yeah,
Willie,
that I agree. I
did you
have
hear the
to
Willie
agree.
Lynch? Whoever wrote it? Do they know anything about Willie Lynch?
we're
You
not
know?
I
talking
know
about
you.
Willie
I don't.
Lynch. We're not talking about Willie Lynch. We're talking about what our men have done to us. We're not talking about Willie Lynch. What her valid point is what you men, our men, we talking about black men, do to us as women. Like, come on, answer that question, Luke.
You said
Cackle
what?
second. Ah,
Again, if I made you independent of black men, where is you going to respect the black man? That's what Willie Lynch. See, that's what I'm saying. Do you have any idea or understand what Willie Lynch was and what it was trying to do?
yes,
Okay,
I do.
that's where it began. So let me ask you a question. We watch The Color Purple every day. Where did the black men get those things that they were doing in The Color Purple? Where did they get it from? See, we don't want to go here. That's what I'm saying. This is a talk.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I didn't finish reading the chat. So Lisa said we need each other. Harper says, what rules does the Bible have for men? Boom, that's another good one because, like, yeah, and
What
because it
rules
only
does the Bible
sounds
have
like the
for men?
Bible has women rules for women. And then Harper says masculinity, force survival. Basically, she's saying masculinity for survival. You guys are throwing around the word around masculinity, but if she's forced into that, how is she? You know, she's the product of her environment because of what she was getting. And going back to what Yolanda said, how are you calling women masculine when some of that is forced from our men? You know, like, we have to step up in roles. Since we're talking about roles, sometimes we're stepping up in roles that,
I'm sorry, Shay. Read the last comment.
oh, I couldn't. Willie Lynch would give Luke an award for how he treats women on here. Wow, that's funny.
Yo, because he's so biased. Like, at the end of the day, we know what the white man tried. Listen, I don't
Yeah.
care if somebody white watching this, whatever. We know what they tried to do to our race of people. But just because someone did something to you doesn't mean that you have to keep that thing. Okay, so I grew up in the project. You grew up in the project. Our
Right.
statistics said we would never get out of the project. We would never have two parent households. We would be caught up on drugs, all types of stuff statistics gave us. But did we do that? No, we made it out. So just because your mother drank, that mean you got to drink? Your father was
Exactly.
a Rolling Stone. Does that mean you have to be a Rolling Stone? No, you got
Yes.
at some point you got to break the generational curse. At
Yes.
some point, you got to go against the grain. And I'm
Now,
not saying you're wrong, Luke. I'm not saying that at all. You're absolutely right. But like me, Shay, and a few other viewers on here, basically it's like we gotta break this because we are hurting our own selves. When we gonna realize that we are our own enemy and we're gonna be our own downfall? But we gotta be our own victory. We gotta be our own triumphant. We gotta go. We gotta come connected. I think it was Lisa said we need each other. The black man needs the black woman, and the black woman needs the black man. You just said, you said it, Lou.
mhm.
Willie Lynch basically put us in a predicament where now we have to operate in our masculinity. The black man left the home. The black man left the home. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Let me spit some game with you. Let me spit some game with you, right? This is my testimony. So when the era came around, well, it was way before my time, but you know, with the food stamp era and you know, getting on the state, remember all of that, right? Okay. So once I became an adult and I got my own apartment and everything, they was like, okay, you got to give us the name of your baby father in order to get assistance or whatever, right? Went through all of that. I got a job. So I go back to the state. They was like, okay, put your kid's father on child support. I said, I don't want to put my kid's father on child support. They said, why? If you don't put your kid's father on child support, you can't get assistance from us. I said, well, I'm just going to have to figure it out. Mainly, I just wanted the medical, but I could care less about food stamps or cash because I work. The reason they wanted me to put my kid's father on child support because they wanted to document. I said, my kid's father take care of their kids. My kid's father, I don't have to do anything for my kids. They take care of their kids. Why should I have you guys take child support from them to document what I'm getting? I don't need nothing. I know what my kid's father do. And after well, I had to do it to the first one, second one. My husband has never been through that.
Yeah.
My husband has, and when I got married, they wanted my husband to pay child support. I said, do that make sense? I mean, sending me letters in order for me to get medical. You understand what I'm saying? So I say this to say, listen, I trust God. God takes care of me, but I'm not against the black man. If anything, I want to help the black man. I want to support the black man, and I don't want the black man caught up in the system. You understand what I'm saying? And if men could actually see that the black woman do care, now don't get me wrong. I know it's some who don't. But again, like the viewer said, N-SHAE said, why do they have to go to that extreme? Because the black man don't want to step up and handle his responsibility. He always want to bail out. He always want to cop out. He always want to make an excuse for why he don't do things.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
And I can relate to that. What you just said, I have that same story because just going to get medical assistant because with my job and the job, I always work. So there was a thing where, I don't know, the job benefits something expensive. And I was like, okay, well, let me see if I can get state health care for me and my children, you know, pregnancy and all that, you know, that eliminates co-pays and everything. Soon as I went up there for that assistant, the first thing they wanted to do, okay, so the father, child support. They were pushing that same narrative to me, child support. Okay, and I said, I don't want child support on the father. I'm just trying to get assistance. The father does for their child. I don't have an issue. I was bringing letters of the dad showing what he gives to it. I said, I don't have, it was odd to them that me as a black woman didn't have anything dockets or anything with the court where we had any kind of issues taking out child support. So she said, wait, so you guys have an arrangement? I don't see any paperwork. I said, no, we have a mutual agreement verbally. We couldn't be together, but we still do for the kids. I said, I'm not going to take him out for child support. The same amount of time I see my kids during the week, so does he. I'll get them for a few days, he does. And then he'll take them shopping and I'll take them shopping. I'm not going to go get him from child support, but they couldn't understand that. So, but then what that tells me is you have other women that go up there and they probably feel like that's the only thing that they can do to get assistance. And when you are trapped and you don't have somebody like my children's father who is doing the darn thing, she's going to sign that paper because she needs assistance. So when child support comes for you, it's not that that woman is a bad person or masculine. It's just, why the hell didn't you come up with an agreement so that they don't come in your back pocket? Why didn't you just do for your child?
When I talk about masculinity, it's not about the things that you do. Okay. Masculinity is how you would step to a person. See, as a man, okay, I don't come at women like a woman. See, because I can only be a man. So if I came into you and acted like a woman, you would say, "Oh yeah, you acting feminine." See, the point here is that's the point I'm trying to get across to you. Now, somebody said earlier, they said, because society put me in that position, this is how I responded to it. God, the greatest thing God gave you was a choice. Just because you in that doesn't mean you got to respond to it that way. Because if I'm telling you you will plan to do this, you should go against it. I was told I would never come out of Westbrook Village. See? I was told all of this. I would never make it. At one point in time, I was in a car accident and they told me I would never walk or talk again. But I'm here
Lord
talking.
knows you do that good.
Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. I done came from a lot of things where they said I shouldn't do. It's your choice. And everybody got a choice. I could talk to you like a woman if I chose to, and I'm not, so I can't. I'm a man. And so
Okay,
again,
so you
I ain't stepping on nobody's toes as a man. See, I'm gonna tell you what it is. And like I said, you get as a man, everybody, especially that Harper, you get attacked. And ain't nobody saying, okay, let's try to understand what's going on. See, we
okay?
attack
So Luke, okay, from a woman to a man, okay. Because I talked to you plenty of times, and you said it to me, and I was quite offended by it. But then I chose offense is something I could choose to receive or reject. So I chose to reject it. So you saying if I come to you in an assertive manner, in a passionate demeanor, those my grandkids. If I come to you in a way where it may seem like uh kind of extended my voice, beyond well, I have a high pitched voice first of all, or if I'm yelling, that's considered masculine. You think I'm coming to you like I'm a man?
Well, what what I'm gonna say to you is this. I have a lady that's down here. She's 81 years old. She will go, "Hi, Mr. Luke, how you doing today? What's going on with you?" See, nothing but lady. No matter what, she's a lady. I respect her because she called me Mr. Luke. And I'm like, nobody ever called me Mr. anything. But she called me Mr. Luke. She, hey, Mr. Luke, how you doing? She always come to me as a woman. So my friend, who's the mother, that's her daughter, she always asked me, she said, why you always trying to holler at my mama? Because her mama never disrespect me. She act like a lady. And she said, she well above me. My mother said I was supposed to respect her. And I do. I go, yes, ma'am. How you doing, ma'am? How's things going? Can I help you, ma'am? What is it that you need, ma'am? We keep it here. See, I'm not having this conversation with y'all. When I first met Nikki, see, how many times did I get called my nigga? I don't say anything. See, now when I walked on the streets of Connecticut in New York, ain't that how we greet each other as men?
Hold on.
Hold on a second.
See what I'm doing.
I grew up in New Jersey, so this is what I'm going to say. You said the woman's 78. Okay, I received what you said. I just recently moved to Georgia about 3 months ago. Everybody in Georgia, young and old, yes, ma'am. No, sir.
Mister,
Yes, sir. Yes,
absolutely.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And these are older people. I've had a younger guy in a subway say yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's where they were brought up. I was brought up in New Jersey. There's not too many. The only yes, sir, and yes, ma'am I did was in my household because my mother and father taught me to answer them that way. If my mother called me, I say, ma'am. If my father called me, I say, sir. That's how I was brought up with my parents. Now, I didn't have to go to school and do that with my teacher. But, when I came here down south, I don't know where you met this 78-year-old woman. But if it's here in Georgia, they all do that pretty much here.
So what I'm hearing from Luke say, what I'm hearing from Luke is I hear and this is what I'm hearing. I'm not saying it's accurate, but this is what I'm hearing with my ears, what you saying. It sounds like you're looking for validation. You're looking for it's something about it's a pride issue for me because it's like you looking for someone to give you this type of praise of being a mister, just talking to you in a sense where you was demasculated. That's what I'm hearing. Because if
Well,
that's
you're hearing
all
it
I got
wrong.
to say to you, Mr. Luke, and that make you feel like a man, hi,
No,
Mr.
what
Luke,
I'm
I
saying,
could do that every day.
what I said is, it's the respect. Men receive love with respect. She shouldn't respect me. She's older than me. My mother would have,
No, she
my mother,
still should respect you.
no, what I'm saying, no, as an elder, we respect our
Okay,
elders. That's how
okay.
we're taught. She's older than me. She don't owe me anything like this. See, she could say Luke at any time, at any point in time, because she's older than me, and I will respect her because she's somebody else's mother. And this is how we were. This is how I was raised. That's what I'm saying. So she never disrespect me. It ain't. I got anything to do with it because I don't care about stuff like that. Y'all should know that by now. I don't care. You can disrespect me all day long. Ma'am, talking to y'all, I was disrespected. What you talking about? I don't stop talking to y'all because y'all disrespect me. Y'all do it every day, all day. I got comments in here calling me a girl and saying I got. It doesn't bother me.
We
That's
love
why
you, Luke. We trying to push your buttons. We love you.
you can't. I don't have buttons. That's the point. I'm from Connecticut. I don't have no buttons. The point I was making was she respected me from day one. I didn't have to earn her respect. She respected me. I didn't have to ask her for nothing. I didn't have to go at her in anything. She respected me from day one. So I'm saying I carried on that same respect. Right now, her daughter, that's Shantae, the other Shantae, she will tell you, Shantae don't respect me, but her mother do. See, that's what I'm saying from day one. And I'm older than all of y'all, but it's the respect. And that's what we're saying.
We do respect you, but we have different opinions and we
Points
have
of
different
Yeah,
perspectives.
we have our point of
It's
view.
not that it's a lack of respect.
I'm not
We
talking
respect
about
you just like
you can
now
get,
you cutting me off.
yeah, because you can get your opinions across without being disrespected. That's
But
the
we not
point.
disrespecting you. No one is.
Lisa in the chat says sometimes she said it well. Lisa in the chat says sometimes you feel passionate about what you're talking about. So with me, I'm very animated when I talk. If you don't see, I use my hands. Anybody who actually knows me, and Luke, you should know me for 4 years now. We've talked on the phone for hours and hours. So you
Exactly.
should know when I start to talk, I'm passionate about what I'm talking about. And it's not that I am not being respectful. It's just that
I'm not.
some of the points that you make, I might disagree with, but at the end of the day, I have my points of view. That doesn't make me, disrespectful. But a lot of times you say that that's challenging you. You think it's challenging
Ma'am.
you, and
Okay,
that's
so
not what.
There you go, ma'am. See,
can I
see,
address that?
see, most women would get upset if you called them ma'am, especially a black woman. She'd be like, "Who you
Yeah.
calling ma'am?" Like what?
Again, see, that's called respect. See, that's why I use that. You always hear me say that. The point is, I'm not
No, you
talking about.
being condescending when
I'm
you
not.
say that.
I'm not talking about. I'm not. No, I'm not. That's what I was always taught. It's a ma'am. Again, I'm not talking about your hand gestures. That's not what we're talking about.
I'm
I'm
talking
not talking
about
about your.
I'm
I'm
animated
not.
even with my voice. And
I'm
Lisa
ma'am. I'm
said
not
we
talking
should
about any of
respect
that.
each other. Even
Okay, but
we should respect each other regardless of age, which is correct. I'm talking about with the conversations. If you talk
do
to
you know
somebody
this now?
for 4 years now, if you've
Okay,
talked to me,
let's
and
go ahead.
plenty of times you say, "Oh, Shante, oh, I feel like you're challenging me, whatever." And it could be that I listen to you talk, and then when you ask me a question, well, how do you feel about that? When I go to give my answer, if it doesn't align with what you were looking for, you cut me off and say, "No, that's not the answer." I'm like, "But this is my answer, Luke. I have a thought process that I want to get
See
out.
what you
If I don't agree with you, you
shut up.
take
I'm
it
gonna
as
leave
a
that alone.
challenge."
Ma'am, when I do
So,
that, what I'm saying is I could be talking to you about 1, 2, 3, and I say this 1,000 times. You will answer ABC. That's not what I asked you.
but you're the only one
But
that's
so
doing
that's
that
why I
here.
stopped you.
Okay.
But that's why
Okay.
I stopped you. If I'm asking you about
Okay.
1, 2, 3, and you're answering ABC, that's not the same conversation. So that's why I
No,
stopped you. Maybe you didn't hear what I said, but that's why we
no.
do that.
Okay, no. A lot
I
of
know,
times
like I
it's
said.
because I'm not saying the answer that you
Ma'am,
want
I
me to
could care
say.
less about your answer. I could really care
Hmm.
less. See, because I'm a communicator. I like to communicate with people. I like to talk to people. But you got to have an understanding of what's being said. You don't have to
Okay.
understand what's being said. If you're sitting here talking about cars and then all of a sudden I bust in and go, well, what about the balloons in the air? That has nothing to do. So you would
But
stop me. We're
yeah,
talking about cars.
yeah, and
So you have to
respectfully,
understand.
even on the chat, a lot of people, I know there's people in the chat who's been in the chat before. And even when you had Harper on the panel, a lot of times with you, Luke, you'll start off asking a question. You did it earlier in this chat. You can rewind it and watch it. You'll ask a certain question, and when we go to answer it, no, that's not what I asked. And then you'll change the question. So it's
Jay,
not
I
that
don't
somebody's giving
think.
you apples and oranges. You start off
Okay.
with grapes, then you ask for pineapples. So that's what's going on.
That's not true. Because I stay consistent. When I go
Okay.
into things, it's consistent all the way through.
Okay, well, you had women.
Never
Yeah, you
moved.
had women on the panel that said, "Hey, you asked us this, now you changed
They
your."
just like
Okay,
you.
but that's
They just
fine.
like you. So like I said, but if I had a panel full of men, they would probably agree with me too.
That's not.
That's the
It's
issue.
not a competition. And off of the
You
air,
just
I
did
said
you hear
that
what
it's
you
not a
just said,
competition.
ma'am? Did you hear what you just said? You
Did
just
you
said
hear what I
that
said?
there are women in the panel that are saying the same thing. If I'm telling you, okay, let's say we have a nice conversation. I can have a nice conversation with, and that's what I just said. We can get our points across from each other. And like I said, you can do it as a woman and I can do it as a man. I don't have to yell. I don't have to say anything. But if you're going to sit here and you want to say, well, I'm going to come at you. You earlier you said, oh, he was butthurt. Now, did I say I was butthurt?
No, your actions were showing that by your
My
by your
actions don't show
yelling,
anything. See,
but by your
that's the whole
yelling.
point. If I didn't say it, I don't want you. I don't put nothing on you that you don't do. That's
Okay,
my point. I
but
don't. How many times have you ever heard me say you were butthurt?
yeah, plenty of
I
times.
don't, because I don't put nothing on you. But go
Okay,
ahead.
But but
okay. What is
listen,
butt
when you
hurt?
say
What is
men,
I
butt
don't know
hurt?
what it is.
yeah,
I
when
don't
you
know what
say
it is.
men though,
That
See, that's
when
don't
what
you
I'm
say
sound
telling you.
right.
men, when
I
you say
know.
men would
See?
have a different
And
point
you
of
to
view,
say about a man, that's offensive.
when you say men would have a different point of view, I just want to say I agree with that 100%, but not. I can't speak for every man. Some men might agree with you, but I have spoken to men because when I get off this panel, sometimes people reach out to me. So I have had men that reached out and they don't agree with your views when it comes to women. And it has been more than one man that has said,
See?
wow, this
But
guy is sexist.
okay.
That's
Well,
what they have called
we
you.
have two sets of men. You got beta men,
And
you
now
got
you'll call
alpha
them
men, and
simps.
I don't believe in that.
Okay.
But at the same
Okay.
time, that's what we're talking about. There's a such thing as a difference in the type of man. God said
Wow.
there were certain things that you had to do as a
None of
man.
these men that I'm talking about are feminine or simps that you're saying.
Uh,
See,
you don't have
there
to.
we go with these words again. See how we just throw words? Words is power. Like you call a man a simp because he's not as assertive and aggressive as you, or he's more. To me, a person that we consider beta men is not that
Mhm.
they're not masculine, but they don't exude masculinity in the way that you do. So most men who are I believe they're more passive. They don't really express themselves verbally as to a man who perceived to be more masculine. But we take this
Let me ask you a
alpha
question.
and this beta. Hold on,
Uh-huh.
let me finish. Let
All
me
right.
just get this out. These words we just throw them out like somebody said. We throw these words out so loosely. We got to be careful because I see some men, and I'm gonna keep it a buck on here. I see some men who claim they are alpha men and they exude so much masculinity, and they be the most weakest men in certain situations. They fumble, they cry over a hard task. Like seriously, they can't manage things when it comes to pressure. But I see some men who are considered beta men. When I tell you they don't fold, they will sit there and they will deal with a situation. They are more executors than the alpha male, and I really see that. They just not as expressive as quote unquote alpha male. It has more to do with more expression than anything. You know, they looked at they're simps or they're weak.
Yeah.
No, it's not necessarily that. They may not have confidence in expressing themselves in word. But to me, the beta men, they're more reliable than them alphas. And I could bet your bottom dollar on that. If you put these two men in categories, I guarantee you that beta man is the more solid man.
Was
Mm.
Jesus a beta or alpha?
What?
Which one was he?
His man was
Was Moses a beta
He
or
was a
alpha?
man of God. He was a man of God and he represented the image of God. That's who he was. He wasn't an alpha or a beta.
And if he crossed, no, he was alpha. Because
No,
see,
it don't say that.
yes, he
He said
was.
he's
You ain't gotta
alpha
say
and
it. This
omega.
actually
He's
says.
alpha and omega. That's who he
That's God.
was.
We talking about the man that walked. Jesus, the
He's
man that walked
alpha
on the
and
planet.
omega. He was
Okay.
God in
Yes.
human form. So what are
He
you
had
Ma'am, that's
compassion for
not an
people.
argument.
He
But
had
what we talking
compassion
about,
for
the alpha
people.
mindset was Jesus. Jesus would come at you. You tried him, he would come at you. He wasn't gonna walk away. He wasn't
And
gonna
he
turn
was
tail and run.
compassionate
He
about
wasn't
doing
gonna
it. He
try to
had
make it.
compassion.
When he met that woman at the Samaritan woman at the well, did he
He was
ask her?
not aggressive. He was not
He was
assertive. He just told her who
compassionate.
she
You didn't say
was.
nothing
He
about
was
Yes.
him being.
compassionate.
Ma'am, can
He
I
was
finish
not
my thought before
disrespectful.
y'all
He was
answer?
not
No.
rude.
Can I finish my? You're right. No. Can I finish my thought before I answer? It's my thought, and y'all just take over and run with it.
I'm sorry,
Again,
Luke. My bad.
that's not that's not masculinity, y'all. That's not. But at the same time, okay. The point here is again when he met the woman at the well, he asked her. He said, "Go fetch your husband." Did Jesus not know that wasn't her husband?
Yeah, but he wasn't mean about how he
Did he
said
not?
it to her.
No, okay, but imagine a man walking up and knowing the man is not your husband. Go fetch your husband. See, he already telling you what he know.
Okay.
That's the point. That's what we're talking about. So now, okay, so the beta man might not ask you that. He might be, oh, I don't want to ask about her husband. See, that's the difference. There's a difference. How you come at a person and what you're gonna come at a person with. And I am for Harper. There's no emotions. I'm with all these women. There are no men. But at the same time, and they got to talk over the people. But good. But like I just said, this is how it all plays out. And like I said, you got men that are manly men, and you got men that are because we grew up in a matriarch. Most of the men that we got in the society was raised by women only. We got the biggest rate of single black parents, and most of the time it's a woman. So when you talk about the men, I often tell you it's because they're raised by women. You need a mother and a father. That's biblical. We need to take it back. Oh, your eyes, Shay. But we'll take it back to the Bible.
What are you
Again,
talking
you were designed
about?
to raise your
I'm
child.
thinking. I think that way, sir. I
Okay,
have a
you were
tube in my
designed
head.
to raise your
First of
child
all,
with a mother
I
and a
have a
father.
tube in my
It was
head, and
never meant
sometimes
for you to
when
raise
I
your
think,
child
my
with
eyes will
just the
go
mother.
this way. So
That's
wait a
how that
minute. I
works.
wasn't rolling my eyes. I was just thinking because the men I had to recollect was the men that told me that. Did they grow up in a single parent home? And no, they didn't. They had their mother and their father. I'm not on here being disrespectful. You don't have to call me out because if you look at every video we did, you'll see
Brother,
that
you just
I
like what you
always look this way. I
said.
always look up
Like
here.
rolling eyes. Back, let's put it like, Will back in Weaver, you would have got slapped because they would have slapped the teacher with
Okay. All right. Now you're being
rolling your eyes.
disrespectful. You're being disrespectful. I told you I didn't roll my eyes. Just like you don't like when somebody says you're in your feelings, don't tell me I rolled my eyes because I didn't do that. I was
You
You did
see,
it like
thinking.
this.
When
somebody in
I
the
think,
comments, said butt hurt is the same thing as a woman hearing
yeah, that's
masculinity.
crazy. You're coming
So
from me
when
with
you
your.
hear butt hurt, a woman hears masculinity.
It's
I'm
crazy.
laughing at these comments, but listen,
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
all due
crazy.
respect to everybody' opinion, we gonna go to
We like
sleep
to
and we
take
gonna
Can we
wake up
do
all
in a
that,
better
please? Yeah.
mindset. This
Yeah,
is
because
good.
I feel like we carried on yesterday's podcast till today, and it's supposed to be real talks. We're supposed to be showing people real talks. And again, when you watch the videos for everybody viewing, look at every video because you will see Shay look this way. When I have a big thought,
You
if
in
I'm thinking
thought.
about
You in
something,
deep
I
thought.
look this way, and that's not me rolling my eyes. That's not what that is.
You
Okay.
in
And if
deep thought.
somebody knows me, they would know that.
I'm gonna
People who
start
know
doing
me
that
know
too.
that.
In deep thought. I'm in deep
Okay,
thought.
see, Luke, you exuding feminine energy to me right now. Cause see,
Okay.
masculine. Somebody said masculine.
If,
They
if
walk in authority.
um,
They exude
ma'am,
authority. But
ma'am,
you is operating out of
ma'am,
feminine energy
let me
right
ask
And
you a
now.
that's
question.
all coming from last
Let me
night's
ask you a
podcast.
question.
He
If
brought
I
me
was
on
in
to this
deep thought,
podcast.
if I was in deep thought, do I have to be animation with the deep thought? Do okay. So when I get into deep thought, do you see me do this? I'm not doing a front.
But that's how she
First of
moves. I do
all,
it too. I do this. I be
I
like,
wait a minute.
I'm
And
thinking.
I did predicate that that's based off of a medical issue. First of all, I'm squinting on here. I went blind for almost a whole year. So a lot of times the lighting on this side is where I went blind the most. I don't know why I do it, but I look up here when I'm thinking. So I did say that. Now, if that's going to be a discussion, we can have the
Hopper,
discussion
Hopper, I
of
have
when
no
Shay
nerve.
went blind. We can talk about that testimony, but that's
I
not what we're
have
talking
no
about.
nerve, Hopper, Hopper. You got to get a new one.
Wow.
We gotta be mature about these topics
And
because
you know something, Shamika, I just want to say something. I want to say this to you. Hold on. Because let me see. And I just want to show my maturity level in this whole thing. Because actually, I came on here with the mindset of maturity, and that's, I'm doing the podcast for that.
yeah,
And I just said this to Luke because I felt there was tension from yesterday. So be at 4 o'clock this afternoon, I said, Luke, you and I need to inhale and exhale. Whatever the chip, or if there's a chip on the shoulder stuff, it isn't good. We have something good going here with both of our mindsets for this podcast. So let's just suck it up and do the darn thing. That's what I said as a friend. And now I come on here and I feel like you're calling me masculine, but I think he would be offended if I called him a feminine, him being feminine in his feelings. That would be
I'm
hurtful
I'm
because
I'm joking with Luke, but I understand what y'all saying. Sometimes I think Luke has been so we all have been so used to talking on the phone, and now
okay,
it's more of a personal interaction, and
okay,
now we're all trying to get our viewpoints out. We're all trying to listen, but we're not listening to hear. We're listening to respond. So we have to listen to hear one another because he has the man perspective and we have the women perspective.
yeah,
So in all actuality, we're all trying to understand each other.
exactly,
But now it's like before it was him talking on the phone and you listening, and then it was you talking and him listening. So now it's like
no,
now we're face to face and
no,
we're open. I don't
yeah,
know if
you're
y'all
right,
ever met each other in person,
you're
but now
right.
we're open now. So
I
it's a more personal,
Yeah, and
intimate
I get that whole thing,
conversation.
and that's
So
why we decided to do this because we both have our and we know we have our viewpoints. So I don't understand the disconnect because we knew we got on here because we didn't agree with everything, and just to have different viewpoints at the end of the day. So no, it's a podcast, and at the end of the day, you just turn off your monitor or whatever, and you go about your business. And if God blesses us with another day, you start again because my goal is to reach people and maybe open somebody else's eyes that are looking one-sided at something. But
yeah.
if you can't have, yeah, we're gonna have this. That's what it's for. But I'm not taking it to heart. Like I said, I reached out to him at 4 o'clock and said, "Look, get over it. It's a podcast. We're friends at the end of the day. Brush that off and let's keep moving."
So is this going to be a to be continued topic?
It's gonna have to be because I can't do 3 hours like last night.
Oh no, we're about to wrap this up. It's 1:52. I'm 1:52. I'm done at this time. I'm gonna let you have the show. I ain't gonna say nothing on no more shows, okay? Because
Oh,
my
you
view,
can't run from
I
this.
won't.
You accepted the call, and
I'm done.
you gotta learn how to deal with women. That's just
No,
it.
I don't know. That's the whole point. The whole point is this: you can come and act like a lady. See, that's what we used to call it, ladies. And I
Mhm.
have a conversation with a lady. But if I'm not
Mhm.
having a conversation with a lady and I'm not feeling like this is a lady conversation, then you're going to get, okay, this is masculine. A man knows when he runs into masculinity.
Yeah.
And when I'm sitting down talking to all my other people that I talk to in person, I get none of this. I get none of it. We don't even have to argue. It's no argument because it's two people sitting down trying to hear and listen to what's being said.
You said hold on. You said you get none of this, but I've been starting to meet some. Now, the whole time that I've met you, every time I talk to you on the phone and we have conversations, and my tone is level, there's no issue. If I don't agree with something, Luke, then you start the name calling and saying, "Oh, you're this, you're that." You start name calling me, and I asked you. I said, "Luke, do you talk to any of the other women like you talk to me?" Because my daughter
Well,
just
see,
witnessed you
that's the,
cussing me out the other day because I didn't agree with something you said, and then you tell me that you don't have to cuss at anybody else you talk to. So I can't help that. Maybe you pick me because I do have an opinion with some things. I don't agree with everything. But at the end of the day, I always say, Luke, I value your
um,
wisdom and your expertise.
Did you see what Yolanda
You
said?
talk to me differently. And on
yes,
here, you can't hide
she
it. And now
does
you
have
want to call me
just be
masculine.
masculine,
But my
not be
family
calling
hears me.
women
They're all watching. They hear me talk to you like a lady on the phone. And then when we get the fussing, it's because Shantae didn't
Shay,
agree with Luke said.
Shay,
So then
Shay,
you start
Shay,
name calling and putting
Shay.
me down. So that's what you
See?
do. And
Okay,
He
then
put
you
I
you
won't.
you just
down.
said that nobody else talks to
See,
you like
like I
me.
just said. See, that's
He
what I'm
put
saying.
you down.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he
put her
does it
down.
all the time. My daughter
Luke,
witnessed this and she said, "Mom,
you
you
put
shouldn't be
her
talking to
down, Luke.
nobody,"
That's not nice, Luke. That's
He
not
does
your
it all the
See,
character,
this is
time.
Luke. Something is
see,
going
see,
on.
like I said, this ain't the place because see, we have to know the history to
Because
understand
you
some of the
just
stuff.
told me that I'm the
Again,
only masculine woman that you talk to. But Shamika was on here having an opinion, but you only see when I have a difference with
so
you.
do you feel like okay? What I'm saying to you is again, when I talk to people and people in general, I say to you all the time, you don't understand what was said. We do this all day long. You do not understand. You can argue and defend yourself. I said that's another thing I say to you. You
Okay.
defend yourself all the time. Even in the wrong, that's what I tell people all the time. How many times have you ever heard a woman say they sorry for anything they done?
I do all the time. I do.
No, you
I
don't.
have plenty of
See,
times.
now, see what I just said?
Not to
No, you don't.
you, but you're talking about my
No, you
past
don't. When we
stories.
do these
I've
things, we
said
don't
sorry
get
to the
that.
people in those.
That's not what a woman do. A woman is not going to say, I was wrong.
I have
I
done
was
that.
completely wrong. No, you
Okay.
Luke,
haven't.
are you
I have people
serious,
listening
Luke?
that could actually tell you that I say sorry.
You
You,
Luke,
talking?
you're
I'm
what
being,
talking
Luke
to
Luke,
her.
wants
you're
me to
being
do,
biased. Luke,
Luke
you're
wants
being
me to
very
say,
biased. I
How is
Luke
that
wants
being
me
apologize
to
all
say
biased?
the
sorry to
time.
him for the stuff I've done to other people. He will tell me, hey, I go over, and I know you
Mm.
probably talk to him about situations in your life. I'll talk to Luke about a different situation, like, hey, Luke, what do you think about this? And then accountability. I did a whole video of accountability. And I say, Luke, that person forgave back here, or I forgave
Mhm.
them. And then when I'm telling the story, he was like, "Oh, I'll tell the story again." He'll ask about it. He's like, "See, now that's not ladylike. You're not. I didn't hear you not once say that
That's
you
what
feel
we
bad
do.
about what you did back there." I'm like, I already apologized to the people back
So
there,
if,
or
what I'm saying to you again, the
he
lesson
wants me
is
to
look,
say sorry for the stuff
I
I've
don't
done
want
in my
to,
past to him.
ma'am, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to go
Luke,
too
I
far.
want you to read what Yolanda said. That's what I want you to. I want you to zoom in on that.
Maybe we shouldn't have been.
Please just be masculine by not calling women masculine.
That part.
We always do.
Meaning we
See?
always apologize. We do. We know
Yes,
how to take accountability. But see, it's only the black man who say we don't take accountability. This is what I'm talking
Uh,
about. This is
we was on here. We was on here 2 hours. 2 hours. Whole 2 hours. The whole show, we're talking. The original question was the roles in a relationship.
hmm
Are they have the roles changed? Now, how we get from here to there? You was here the whole show now. The majority of the show, you were here. How do we get from roles to this right here? Now, I didn't hardly talk. I let y'all talk. See? Think about it. I wasn't saying anything. I was just sitting here.
you
Now go
was.
watch the show if you don't believe me. See, nothing was
Send me
said.
the link. Send me the link.
You said what now?
Send me the
Oh, you can
link.
watch it too. You can watch it
I
once you
tried.
go
I
off.
tried to get it. I tried to get it and I couldn't pull it up.
But that's what. Well, when we end it, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to
Because
you if you
this is
don't.
what we're talking about. It has to do with the topic. We're talking about roles and how the roles have switched. So the roles had switched because the woman had to operate in a position where the man was not present. So she had to lead. She had to take care of everything. So she had to quote unquote operate in masculinity. So that's how the topic kind of shifts. But it's still a part of the topic because the roles had to shift because the man is not there. It's not a two parent household anymore per
So
se.
what again, and we understand that. See, now when my mother was talking to my father, the conversation was never like this. See, because my mother never got aggressive with my father. And to be honest with you,
Yolanda, I say that all the time to him.
I say it
Somebody
too.
hurt Luke. Somebody
I
hurt
say
him
it
bad.
too.
Somebody hurt him
Yeah,
bad.
like I just
I
said,
say it
Yolanda,
too.
see,
your,
see,
your
Luke,
role
see, Luke,
models,
we the common denominator, and the common denominator wins. So you got hurt. Somebody hurt
the
you.
common denominator can be wrong. I
I
don't
keep telling
believe
you,
in being
Luke,
wrong.
if I wasn't married, I would be your wife.
I
There you go. See, and nobody here will want to sign up for that. What you talking about?
no.
Cause see, I love a challenge.
Nobody
I
here
like
will
I like
sign
a
up for
challenge. I'm a woman who I like a challenge. I love assignments. So
that.
you
Again,
would be one that I will love.
never,
Mm.
ever been hurt. And even all my years, I'm not hurt. When I speak, that's why I try to get people to think I'm too grounded in God to be hurt. I'm really too grounded. You couldn't hurt me if you wanted to.
So
You
now
can
you
hit me.
saying you got Jesus power. See, now I'm about to Shantae. I can't do this
Oh,
with y'all tonight. Cause
Mm.
see, we all have been hurt. No, the
Yeah,
I
strongest,
haven't.
the
yeah.
I
strongest
haven't.
been hurt. Jesus
I,
was hurt. You
Mm.
think Jesus didn't feel hurt when Judas betrayed him with
nobody
a
said
kiss?
I'm
You
not
think Jesus
arguing
wasn't
because
hurt
Jesus
when Peter denied him three
went through
times?
trials and tribulations. Nobody took me no trials and tribulations. Jesus was put here to be hurt. I wasn't. I'm saying none of this stuff bothered me. My father used to tell me all the time. I never lived. My mother used to tell me about a job. She'd say, "Look, if you got fired from a job, you were looking for a job when you found that one. None of this stuff bothers me. All this stuff bounced off of me. I don't
That's
live my
not
life.
true. That's not true.
That's
And
why I
come on
tell you,
now.
therapy is a
Listen,
breakthrough. But
we're human beings. We can be truthful. So it does bother him. And
That's why when you said butt hurt, when you said butt hurt, that was a trigger.
earlier today, I called to ask what our discussion. Let's discuss the discussion for tonight. All Luke wanted to talk about was the podcast from last night, and I said, Luke, it's getting late. We got to come up with something. He said, I just want to get this
I
out,
tell you
and
what,
then you said
we're
this
gonna
last
let you
night.
come up
It
with the
does bother
podcast now.
him. I don't know why.
It
You can
doesn't
be
bother me.
masculine
You
and
can't
still be
tell me.
truthful, though.
That's what we're talking about. I can't tell you what bothers you. You will never hear me tell anybody what bothers them.
But it was in your tone.
You
I
have
can
to
tell
know.
by your
My
tone.
tone is my tone. I always speak like this.
That's his tone. That's his tone. Just
That's
like we
I
have
know,
our
but
tone.
in the
Yolanda, listen,
conversation,
answer the question Yolanda said. Why do you come at women the way you do? Because he's biased and he's a chauvinist. That's it.
I'm a bias. See, now I got took on another title again. It don't bother me. See, I'm still smiling. I'm still standing.
So
See,
you know I
don't
love
bother
you,
me.
Luke. You know I love you, but you
Don't
know you
bother
biased.
me. I
Just
take
keep it
all
above.
of it. See,
Just
very.
keep
and
it
it don't
above.
bother
You
me.
biased, Luke. You biased, Luke.
How
You
am
just
I biased?
you
How
one
am I biased?
sided. You don't see it. You don't see 360. You see 180. Like that's it. You don't see 360.
When everybody I come in contact with were perfectly fine until they met me. See,
What?
That's
that's
a
how that
damn
works.
problem.
See,
Wow.
there you go. They were
Wow.
fine. Before they met me, they were fine. When they met me, all of a sudden, their whole world just got discombobulated because I was on one side. I went to a school, and we went to a school with 5,000 ninjas. There was ninjas all over the place, and you can't be in there with a weak heart because if you was weak, they were going to take you out in there. But this is how this works, okay? Like I said, this stuff don't bother me. People talk has never bothered me because my mother always taught me this. I let people talk all day long. Matter of fact, I come here and sometimes I say stuff to get the heat. I don't care.
I want all the smoke. I
And
told you
see,
that from the
that's the
beginning.
thing.
I
And
want
then
all
why
the
that's what I'm
smoke.
saying. The same thing. Knowing him for 4 years, I'm still here. I understand his mindset. I get it. And he always preferenced how him and Kevin Samuels were cool. So yeah, this is the conversation that he is putting out there. This is how he is. Like
Luke
you,
is
like at the end of
controversial,
the day,
Shay.
I'm
He's
gonna click off my
controversial.
computer and I'm gonna go enjoy my family and be fine. But I have my opinions for things at the
Why
end
are
of the
you over
day.
there on the
You have
ground like
yours.
Shay?
Huh?
I said, why do you come at women the way you do? Do I come at the women a certain way?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So let me
Mm-hmm.
ask y'all a question. How should you come at the woman then?
What do you mean?
Crickets.
How should you?
She
Just
said,
like
and
you
I'll
want us to
post,
come at
she
you with
said,
respect. He
Yeah,
said
she
with
said,
with
how?
respect.
respect. With respect. Just like we come at you with respect. I mean, you want us to come at you with respect. We want the same respect. We don't want to hear we're masculine because we're passionate and we expressing ourselves. We don't want to
That's
hear
Yes.
not
that.
why I said you were masculine. See, first of all, there's a disconnect, and we got to wrap this up. There's a
You
disconnect.
said we come
I
at
don't,
you like we
I'm not
do.
talking,
How we come
I'm
at
not
you like
talking,
we do? Okay,
I'm
right
not
now I'm coming
talking
at
about,
you like I'm a dude.
I'm not
Right now I'm
talking
coming at you
about,
like I'm a dude.
ma'am, I'm explaining because y'all keep
You
going with
see,
the
call me
passion.
ma'am.
I don't care about your passion.
Mhm.
That's not what I'm talking about. It's masculine.
What you talk
That's
about?
not
Then?
this. I'm talking about how aggressive it is. See, if you like I tell you all the time, if it was two men arguing
He's a
sports at
fraud, girl.
Wembley
He's no therapist.
and
He's
you
a
ran up
fraud.
on me with the same stuff, there would be a fight. That's just reality. Because it's two men. And a woman don't run to a man in that same way. That woman's going to come with you with the respect and understand that I'm not bigger. That's why the Bible says a man is to respect you as the weaker vessel. I come to you as the weaker vessel,
He
but
said
are you
love. He
like
said
a
love.
lady? Lady, step to me like a lady. If you're talking to me like a lady, I'm gonna talk to you like a lady. I can only give you what you give me. This is how all things work. What you sow, you're gonna reap. If you come at me all the time like a lady, I'm not gonna give you no man. You won't be all aggressive. That's the point. But when you come in at a person with that aggressive, you're gonna get
Ooh,
that back. That's life.
okay, see, there we go with the words. There we go. Now I'm coming aggressive. Why is passion aggressive? Why?
Ma'am, it's according how you do your aggression.
You
There's
see
a
her,
difference between
Shay, right?
that whole
You
thing.
see her
Yeah,
he's trying to provoke me to wrath. Ma'am.
I'm saying, see, you could be passionate. I done met people who are passionate about doing things. And then I met people who are aggressive in doing things. Those are two different things. See,
Okay.
you could be passively, you can tell me all the time. You can get up on me and tell me, well, I really love hard. I'm really a hard love. I will understand it. But if you come
Mm-hmm.
in like, okay, well, it's a fight, that's different. It's not a fight. I'm talking to you. I listen to what you say. You listen to what I say. We won't have a
Mm-hmm.
problem. It's
Okay.
about exchanging information. It's how you exchange the information. I don't care that you raise your hands. I don't care that you talk with your hands. It don't bother me. That's the point. You can
Okay.
come as passionate as you want
And
to. I don't tell you to get rid of your passion. I'm
and
telling
with
you how you talk to me in aggression.
okay. And with
That's all I'm
that,
saying to you.
And
But
with
yeah,
that, and I respect everybody on the panel tonight, but I need to go love on my family because I can't keep having nights where they're sleeping when I get off of here. So
oh yeah,
I
get off.
appreciate everybody coming out and Shamika, nice seeing you again. All the people that commented in the chat, thank you. And a positive mentality is a destined reality. Keep that in mind. And have a great rest of your night. And till next time.
This was really good. I appreciate you, Shay. The
Put,
last comment was very
put
good. So I
this
think the
and
next
help you
podcast,
tap into
I
your
think we
deep.
should talk about therapists and being able to maneuver between what is aggression and what is not, what is proper expression and what is
Yeah.
not.
Exactly. And
And
Yeah.
that's exactly.
we coming for you, Luke. We coming
Oh,
because
They say
you
that
be,
that's one of the undesired people to marry. If you look it up, they say a lot of people, if they find out you're a therapist, they'll
yeah, because
run.
they
And
manipulators. They're manipulators. They manipulate the narrative all the time. all the time.
Again.
Straight up narcissists. They try to put
Yeah.
everything on the individual. That's why he's single, because he's a narc.
Now, see, all the names I take here, you ain't said, see, that's aggressive, but we're not. But that was just passion. My bad. That was just passion. Okay.
I wasn't even being loud. I wasn't being assertive.
I
I
know.
wasn't being aggressive. I just said, you a narc.
How many times have you called me out my name? Everybody done question everything I do. See?
You know I love you, Lou.
That's negativity.
You know you
All
my
this
husband.
Oh, we good.
You know you my husband if I wasn't married. You the next one in line. It's all about you, Lou.
Okay, I'm in wait. But like I said, all this negativity I receive every day. See, this is negativity. I'm about to retire because there's too much negativity. But we had a great show, and like I said, I would like to thank everybody who comment, and all the negativity I will accept. And you guys be blessed. As always, be blessed. And good night. Oh yeah, like, subscribe, and share.